could administer a vaccine in a major outbreak of a deadly epidemic. And less than half of the population that are recommended to get flu shots get them in Iowa.
The report, called Ready or Not, Protecting the Public's Health, also shows Iowa has room for improvement in terms of how well hospitals are prepared for halting the spread of harmful diseases or illnesses.
We looked at hospital quality safety measures, particularly with regard to controlling hospital-based infection transference or contagion within a hospital, and we found a lower percentage of the hospitals that met the national standards for protecting patients.
The report grouped the states into 3 performance categories. 17 states are in the upper tier, 20 in the middle tier, and 13 in the lower. According to Auerbach, I was in the middle tier in part because of issues with nitrates and other pollutants in the waterways. In local sports, Fort Dodge girls basketball travels to Sioux City West tonight for the opening round of the regional playoffs. Radio coverage is on 92.1 The Eagle starting at 7 p.m. St. Edmund girls basketball faces Appleton Parkersburg tonight in regional playoff action with radio coverage on Sunny 99.7 at 7 p.m. South Central Calhoun girls basketball takes on East Sac County at 7 p.m. on 105.9 The Beach. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Cloudy skies this afternoon with highs around 25. Southeasterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Overcast skies tonight, lows level off around 21. Tomorrow, highs level off around 29. High of 13 Friday under overcast skies. 17 Saturday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 22.
This is John Greenhut, and if your teeth are stained from coffee, tea, or smoking, Power Swabs is the answer. In 5 minutes, you'll see 2 shades whiter teeth, and in 7 days, 6 shades. Even better, there's no messy strips or trays that you'll have to leave in your mouth for an hour. Just swab your teeth for 5 minutes, and you're done. To try Power Swabs, call 1-800-679-0969. Your bright white smile will have your friends talking about how great you look. Try it risk-free. 1-800-679-0969. That's 1-800-679-0969.
Cupid's Choice is Humboldt Motor Sales. Cupid shot his arrow at the 2019 Buick Encore, and it's yours at 0% for 72 months, plus a rebate of either $1,050 or $4,000. He took aim at the 2019 Sierra, and Humboldt Motor Sales is giving you 19% off. Cupid's got the 2019 Acadia in his sights, and you're getting a $4,500 rebate. Cupid's Choice is Humboldt Motor Sales, your Chevy, Buick, GMC dealer. Online at HumboldtMotors.com.
As the nation's leader in pork production and pork exports, Iowa's pork producers are doing things right. It's their ethical and moral responsibility. Hog farmers keep their pigs safe and healthy, safeguard natural resources, protect public health, and build strong communities every day. Pork quality, responsible production, and continuous improvement are roles they take very seriously. Iowa's pork producers, producing safe, affordable food. Sponsored by Iowa's pork producers and their pork checkoff.
The Webster County pork producers remind you when it comes to protecting their family's health, Iowa's pig farmers are some of the most concerned people around. Safe, affordable, delicious, and nutritious pork can be served for your dinner tonight. Roasted, grilled, stewed, sauteed, stir-fried, broiled, kebabbed, sauced, dipped, sandwiched in your new recipes and your old recipes. Why not buy some pork today and serve it up tonight? This message brought to you by the Webster County pork producers, striving to serve people, pigs, and the planet.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Listen to this.
Making radio great again.
Here I am, single, unemployed, inexplicably 2 inches shorter than last year. It's like your lives are chugging forward and mine's just slipping backwards.
Michael Devine at AM 1400.
In the name of justice and the American way of life.
With 60 rounds of freedom.
All right, here we go. Terry Mickey's in the house.
We got the Refugees All-Stars, rubber-dubbing in the club. Wyclef Jean, John Forte, Roswell.
The rap version of Staying Alive there, Dr. Mickey. I know you were probably a disco demon in your youth.
Still am. I just bought Bohemian Rhapsody over the lunch hour.
You bought Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yeah, trying to recover my youth.
You know, I was never a Queen fan, really. It just wasn't my kind of music.
You know, he had a very pure singing voice.
He did.
Him and Steve Perry both, I think, are two of the finer voices in rock music. And
I watch Freddie Mercury's stage presentations now, and I'm reminded of how gullible I have been most of my life. I never got it. He was gay, you know. Here he is in full makeup and earrings and silk capes. And if I saw somebody that way today, I'd say, "Oh yeah," but I never got that back in those days.
Well, I never looked at it like that. I was just into his performance.
That's right. You're non-judgmental.
That's right.
That's right.
I continue.
You're at one with the universe, ladies and gentlemen. The Reverend Dr. Terry Menke.
David Bowie used to dress like that too.
Oh yeah,
a lot of glamours. I mean, look at Prince.
That was kind of a 70s thing.
Yeah.
Rod Stewart used to dress not quite as extravagant as David Bowie and Freddie Mercury, but he was out there.
Yeah. Well, you know, a lot of DJs over the years have been a little bit deviant in their behavior too. So
name one.
Janie Morgan.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there you go.
He pegged it.
I was thinking Howard Stern, but you can go ahead with Jane if you want. Anyway, our guest is City Councilman Terry Menke, poet, scholar, porn star, and apparently the most tolerant man in the universe, which we're glad to have you here.
Yeah.
I understand you don't want to talk about fireworks, so naturally
I thought you were burned out on the subject. I wasn't sure if you
Terry, I never burn out on a few subjects. I thought you knew me that well, but apparently not. So, what nefarious deeds are a couple of your council buddies over there trying to do for the benefit of themselves and a few angry constituents?
You know, we looked at it Monday. It was a workshop. I mean, it was just basically an open discussion discussing the future and use of the tents primarily. There wasn't too much concern about the standalone buildings since they are under a little bit different guidelines with the fire suppression and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The main concern of the tents, you know, I'm not really sure where this came from, but the direction we were getting from staff and a couple of the council people is that they wanted to put.
What do you mean the direction you're getting from staff? Didn't the council people approach the city staff to come up with some plans?
Yeah, I think this all stems back to the one property that was behind Community Pizza.
That's right.
On the Fifth Avenue South corridor, even though it's not actually on the Fifth Avenue.
I know, but we want people to know how these things happen.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
we just can't sit in here and say, "Well, people are telling us." Okay.
Okay.
We're past
really?
that now. We're past that now. People are telling me to do this. Well, who are these people? Well, one.
Yeah. No, but anyway, there was some concern about the proximity of residential properties to fireworks stands, and that's kind of what triggered this discussion. You know, in Des Moines last year, went through the process of restricting them to industrial areas, and that was a lawsuit, and then that was overturned. I think David discussed a little bit about that in the past with you. As a result of that, it opened up the door for cities that wanted to could restrict the locations of the tents. And that's where this came from. The discussion was we were presented with three options, basically leave it alone, be a little bit more restrictive, and be really restrictive. And the staff determined that they wanted to see the fireworks tents put into light industrial and heavy industrial sites. And that would have basically eliminated the location of all the fireworks stands that were there last year.
That's right. They would have got rid of every single fireworks stand.
Well, they would have had to relocate. Yeah.
Don't give me that cheese.
Yeah.
Relocate. That's what they told the Jews during the Second World War. You're up for relocation.
And
you'll love Auschwitz.
And the Indians. Yeah.
And the Indians. Every time I hear that relocation thing, my hair in the back of my head stands up.
Yeah. Well,
we're going to relocate you over to county jail.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you
so
very
anyway,
much.
we talked about it a little bit. And my main concern was, again, first off, I knew that property behind Community Pizza was not on the Fifth Avenue South corridor. And so that was clarified. And the concern I had was that the current fire code specifies that the tents, and the tents include the stakes and the ropes off of the tents, have to be 20 feet or farther away from adjacent residential properties. And
residential properties?
Yeah, residential.
But we take the one that was in Fairway parking lot, which is definitely 20 feet away from any building, and that would fall under the same ordinance, wouldn't it? And that would be gone.
That's because it's in the downtown overlay.
Yeah. Oh, see, we're really getting tricky now.
Yeah, we're protecting
the downtown.
But I didn't have.
Have you been downtown?
Yes, I've been downtown quite a bit.
All right.
But again, I didn't have any problems with the Fairway location because
this is all such mealy mouth crap.
Well, I think what it boils down to is a waste of our time.
It is a waste.
And
of
I
your
think
time.
I mentioned that. It's too bad.
And what's the planning and zoning doing this? They want to put the pressure on the council. Oh, we're moving forward. We're moving forward.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
God, who are these regulators?
My suggestion was
get out of our lives and stay out.
If we're going to move them to a light industrial, heavy industrial, we're moving them farther away from the fire department. So our response time is going to go down. And I'm not sure how long a fire stand would last if it actually caught on fire, but I'm sure it wouldn't be too long. You would also be moving them from their current locations, which are concrete. Every one of them that I can recall was on concrete or gravel, so there wasn't really anything there to burn. And the only places that you have in the heavy industrial, light industrial would basically be grass. And so then you're going to have grass problems, grass fires. If they do move them to the heavy industrial, light industrial, you can still have that 20-foot setback. Then I noticed even planning and zoning said 200 feet away from residential, but they didn't say anything about commercial buildings, which means you could put a tent up fairly close to a combustible source. So,
like Fairway, you mean?
Well, I know they wouldn't allow it. And then according to the P&Z.
All right, that's the downtown overlay.
Yeah,
when did that come into play, the downtown overlay?
Well, that was part of the second, I think the second portion was to eliminate out of the downtown overlay.
The downtown overlay goes where?
Out to about 12th Street, 13th Street. I mean, it's kind of the downtown zone, everything about 2 blocks around Central Avenue. So, yeah. So anyway, my suggestion was that we leave it the way it was. I didn't think the Fairway location really had a fire hazard risk associated with it. I didn't have any problems with the other locations, except for I really thought the one was too close to the residential. So that one, if you back that up a little bit, if possible, then that would probably take care of that problem. Jeff and Lydia wanted to move them to the light industrial, heavy industrial. Mr. Chapman with the Senate,
he's going to get that done.
Scrappy,
well, not this time of year, because Scrappy over there in Rockwell City won't help him out.
Yeah,
that's not going anywhere. What we really got to do is have local control, not have local control for hog confinements. But we will stand aside while the spirit and intent of the fireworks law is violated, because we need local control in that regard.
Yeah, well,
Scrappy talks a lot of funny stuff.
This was brought up as a study bill.
A
study bill, Senate Study Bill 1035.
Right.
Which was proposed by Mr. Chapman, who's the chairman of the subcommittee, which is a 3-member committee. And
right.
They did pass it out, and it's now in front of the Senate floor, I guess.
It'll take a couple of years to get it done, but he'll get it done.
I think he's wasting his time. But
that's what everybody said about fireworks legislation in the first place. And we finally got over the hump of, this is ridiculous. Are we in the 19th century?
Sure.
Joe Bolcom says we ought to legalize marijuana, and everybody faints. States around us are going to legalize marijuana. Do you suppose tax-paying customers from Iowa will go to Minnesota and Illinois to buy weed? Yes, they will.
Maybe.
But you say that to our legislators, and oh my God. Oh, have you seen what happened in Colorado?
Have you read through the study bill?
Have I read through what study bill?
The one that Mr. Chapman proposed?
Yes, I have, as a matter of fact.
Okay. Well, basically, he says that any city would allow the fireworks on the 4th of July. If anybody is transporting fireworks to bring them into the state, they no longer have to get a special permit to do that, where now they have to. The fire marshal, state fire marshal, basically conducts all the inspections and is responsible for all that. They can authorize local people to go in and inspect, which I'm sure we're going to do that anyway, even without the blessing of the state fire marshal. I think now that we have a city fire marshal, we'll probably do the inspections. But the zoning thing, that he did specify that we couldn't restrict zoning, but he did mention that you could keep it away from residential areas. So
you pounced on that, didn't you?
No, I didn't pounce on, because I didn't read this until yesterday.
Did you see that, ladies and gentlemen? He asked me if I'd read the bill. Then, oh, what a surprise! He had it right in front of him.
Of course, I had it in front of me. I spend hours preparing to
just for
battle
this
you,
hour.
just for battle for you.
Forget it.
Yeah, I know it. That's a hopeless cause. But anyway, the other problem I had is that they said that there's 576 properties in the light industrial, heavy industrial. I differed with that a little bit because 73 of them on the list, and I have the list. 73 of them are residences, which obviously you're not going to put fireworks stand on. The city.
I heard that between that little stretch between 15th Street and the Hab Bridge, or the Veterans Bridge, excuse me. You know, the one that has speed cars on it all the time. And
vaguely familiar with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we have so many businesses there. Go count the businesses.
Yeah. Well, actually,
excuse me. That's a residential area. That's what they told me.
Yeah.
In that 4-block area, there's about 9 houses and more businesses than that.
Yeah.
It's all baloney.
But again, a lot of this property, the city owns 31 of those places. Betterment Foundation, Iowa, Illinois, Nestle is included. A lot of railroad property in here. And I did the math, and basically of those 576, there's probably less than 100 of those lots that are actually available to put fireworks stands on. So it's quite restrictive.
That's available. And how many of them actually want to?
No, that's the other question.
Yeah.
How
this
do you
is
know?
clearly an attempt to make the sale of fireworks as difficult as possible and the use of fireworks as difficult as possible. If that isn't a violation of the spirit of the law, I don't know what is.
Well, I said, how many complaints we had about the tents?
Yeah.
How many?
How many complaints did we have about the tents?
None.
Nobody
complained.
But we're attacking the tents.
Yeah.
This is an end around.
Yeah. And again, I didn't go for it. And I told you last week I didn't go for it.
Because again, it's garbage. It's because a couple of the congressmen are gutless, or councilmen are absolutely gutless. They get phone calls from the no fireworks crowd, and they're very vocal, and they're not man enough to stand up to them, frankly. They're gutless.
But anyway, I just don't, again, it's going to come in front of us on the 25th again. I'm sure I don't know where Dean stands on this. Dean wasn't there on Monday
No one
night,
does.
So I'm sure he'll have a valid concern. I mean, the South Side is basically.
Dean's very mysterious.
And there's a lot of fireworks throughout town. South Side probably has more than, the northeast part of town. But the concern I have is just, I think we're impinging on not only the ability to get fireworks in the city of Fort Dodge, kind of a backdoor method.
That's exactly the point of all this, Terry.
I don't understand, the safety aspect. I don't really think we're gaining anything on the safety aspect, because I think we're creating more problems.
This is all about the tender feelings of a couple of macho councilmen you got over there.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh gosh, I don't want to be, I don't want to be called on the phone. I don't want to appear just to violate the intent of the law. Either can't do that. So we'll direct city staff to come up with a way where we can choke off fireworks use. Yeah. Let's not, does anybody want to talk enforcement this year? Hell no, because enforcement was always a joke. Yeah. I talked with Roger yesterday, as a matter of fact. Yeah. I talked with the mayor about it last year. The mayor scoffed at the idea of enforcement. He just thought that was ridiculous. After talking enforcement for several months, when I revealed to him that the enforcement was non-existent, he decided to take a different tack and call me an idiot. Not straight out an idiot.
To say that doesn't sound like Matt.
No, well, he did not call me an idiot directly, but he implied it, like Matt can. Matt can imply you're an idiot.
He actually agreed with me the other night. We were both somewhat.
What? That you were brilliant or something?
No, about the fact that I think that this is a waste of our time.
Yeah, well,
I think
Matt's one of the smartest guys in the room, and the rest of them are just.
Well, I think 20 feet away from any property with a fireworks stand is maybe a little bit too close. And I don't know the range of fireworks. Again, I'm not, versed on that. I would assume that if a firework tent's going to go up 20 feet, isn't going to save an adjacent building. Probably going to be detrimental.
Where did the downtown overlay sneak in?
I don't know. That's just part of the
Some of the council talking to the city staff. Help me! I'm getting calls at night. I can't stand it. They're yelling at me. I'm going to crack under this train.
Downtown overlay, I don't know where that came from. Fifth Avenue South Corridor. I mean, we have spent a lot of money out there, and I understand a big, floating gorilla may be a little bit distracting on our corridor, but the tents are only operational for 2 weeks. And the gorilla was over by Avila Bank, so that wasn't even on the Fifth Avenue South Corridor. So Actually, last year there was no.
Oh, by Avila Bank, huh?
Yeah, there was actually no fireworks stands on Fifth Avenue South last year, except for Menards, which is a building that sells things other than fireworks. So they're selling fireworks in a lumber store.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can judge me as harshly as you wish,
and
but you know damn right that you know damn well I'm right. You would never hear any of this sort of in-depth reporting in the Fort Dodge Messenger, not once. The Messenger never questions these games.
The other thing is that just restricting where they're sold isn't going to cut down on our complaints. People are still going to shoot them. People are still not going to like them.
But your councilman buddies want something to take to the complainers. And some of the complainers are the same ones over and over and over and over again. A council or a person really should have the guts to say, why don't you shut up and get off my phone? I'm sick of listening to you.
I don't think that'll ever happen.
Well, maybe I should run for council to start happening a lot.
Yeah, that'd be great. Aren't you in? You're in Ward 2 though. You're in Ward 3, aren't you? No, what ward are you? You're in Kim's ward.
No, that if I was across the street, I would be in Kim's ward.
Are you in my ward?
Yes, I am.
Okay, you can have the job.
So man, no, I want to move across the street.
You'll probably want a pay raise too.
I want to move across the street. Yeah. Kim wants to have a debate. I'm ready to debate. Let's get up on the stage, buddy.
Yeah. So anyway, the fireworks situation, again, Dave and Nevin basically want to sit back and wait to see what Chapman ends up with, which could be, as you said, a year or two down the road. I don't think, I talked to Tim at the hospice ball, Crying Brink, and he told me that the senators down there were tired of talking about fireworks. They really are happy with the way it's going and they don't want anything to do with it.
They're happy with the way it's going. Huh?
Yeah, they're not calling him. So I should give him his phone number. We should give his cell phone number out about the 2nd of July and see what happens with Tim's phone.
They're not calling him.
Yeah, but Jeff and
see,
Liddy,
the Republican. This is Tim's a great guy. Of course, I like Scrappy, but they get a little weak. They get a little weak. Well, you know what we're really doing down here is whacking up the money. So you guys, here we're gonna give you something that looks like something, but it's not really anything.
See, they're touting almost $90 million in public education money this year. So I don't know where that came from. But anyway,
Crying Brink and Sexton, I think they had it on them.
Did they? Yeah. Well, that's entirely possible. Entirely possible. But anyway, I think the fireworks thing, I think every year we'll probably be talking about fireworks. It seems like somebody rears up every year with something. Local control, fine. If you want to give it to us, fine. If you want to take it away, fine. But if you want to take it away, then be prepared to answer the questions. I don't think that we're doing a bad job. I think we've been very lenient with our use of fireworks and our accessibility, and I don't really see any need to change it at this point.
Yeah, well, I'll be the first one to say I was very disappointed in my fellow citizens. The first year it was ridiculous. Yeah. It wasn't as bad this last year around the 4th of July. The problem was non-existent around New Year's.
Yeah,
and that it'll continue to level off. We just have to get our council people to I don't know, take some testosterone, I don't know, something, maybe estrogen, I don't know.
We're crossing the line.
We're crossing
the line. Okay, so enough about fireworks. Are you happy now? I mean, you're content.
I'm spent.
You're not going to yell anymore. Okay.
No. I'll be yelling at Scrappy and Crane Brink.
Oh, perfect. Yep, perfect. We did also have a workshop on.
Did you have Crane Brink's permission to tell the audience that conversation you had?
I don't have.
You just ratted him out on air.
You and Ann were talking about his weight and everything the other day. So I mean, that's more personal than talking about his fireworks stand.
No. Well, it was his name. I can't remember. He was either Tubby or Chubby. him and Mulholland had those for childhood names. Can you believe that?
I can believe
Mulholland. And Tim's such a big guy, I would never call him a name in his presence.
Oh, Tim towers over me.
Yeah.
Just like David does. I like to talk to him when they're sitting down, so I'm eye to eye with them. Yeah.
His younger brother was one of the 50 great basketball players of all time.
Where were you on that list?
I was not there.
You're not there?
No, I was not there.
Did you have any kind of potential or anything to really?
Did I ever have any kind of potential?
When you're in school, did you have anything you excelled in?
Did I have any? Oh, yes, I did. As a matter of
fact.
What
was it? Can we talk about it on there?
It just wasn't in sports. Much as I would have liked to have been.
There again, we took that turn.
Yes, we did. It just wasn't in sports. Of course, you were out on the gridiron, weren't you?
No,
you were the tackling dummy.
No, I played football a little bit in
junior
junior high
before you realized getting hit like that was no fun.
Right. It was just like basketball. I was very good until everybody else grew up, and I was still the same size.
You were still the same size. Yeah. How about wrestling? No,
wrestling, no,
not so much.
No. You know, back when I was growing up, we didn't really wrestle that
Track and field?
Yeah, I ran a little bit, 220. Yeah, which isn't even around anymore. Now it's a 200.
You know, I wasn't bad at long distance running.
That was never a dream of mine.
Yeah, I don't know. That was way before I started smoking, of course. After I started smoking, I kind of lost it for that type of thing.
Rich Goodnow was our long distance cross country coach, and he ran with the team, and he could outrun them. As a matter of fact, up until about 6 years ago, I used to see him running when I went back home to see Mom. He was in his late 80s, and he was still running. Still running.
Good for him.
Yeah, he passed away though. Probably had a heart attack. That's what most.
It's probably the running, right?
Yeah, probably the running. Yeah.
All right, Dr. Terry Menke is our guest. Yeah, Dr. Terry Menke is our guest. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for that.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Listen to this.
Making radio great again.
You're saying a lot of words really fast that mean nothing.
Michael Devine, the doctor of truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
At AM 1400 KVFD.
Yeah, we'll be back in a couple of minutes to question the manhood of the city council here in just a minute.
We got the Refugees All-Stars, Rubber Dubbin in the club, Wyclef John Forte.
All right, this is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. News and the obituaries coming up.
When it comes to my weed control, I know a head start can go a long way. That's why I spray early, so I can keep control all season long with the Roundup Ready Extend crop system, the system that makes the difference. This is my field.
Choose the Roundup Ready Extend crop system for control of more weeds than any other soybean system. Featuring XtendiMax herbicide with Vapor Grip technology to manage tough-to-control weeds, including up to 14 days of soil activity, along with the field-proven performance of Roundup Ready to Extend soybeans. Now you have the right tools to extend your weed control and extend your yield with the system that makes the difference. Learn how you can put the system to work in your field when you visit RoundupReadyExtend.com. XtendiMax is a restricted-use pesticide. Performance may vary. Always read and follow grain marketing and all other stewardship practices and pesticide label directions. Check local regulations for specific requirements in your state.
I'm an Iowa teacher. I fight every day to make sure that the students have real-world life skills. My Iowa Bank helps any way I need them to. They have come to my class to be guest speakers. They have welcomed us into the bank. If you don't have a relationship with your bank, you need to make one. I love my Iowa Bank.
More Iowans choose to bank with an Iowa bank. Get to know a real Iowa banker and discover the genuine difference of Iowa banks.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagallen with the KVFD Afternoon News. The cause of a deadly house fire in Central Iowa is under investigation, as Radio Iowa's Matt Kelly reports.
The house is located in Polk County between Ankeny and Des Moines. The sheriff's office says 911 calls about the fire were made shortly before 4:30 this morning. Authorities say they found the body of an adult inside the home, though no further information about the victim was released. Firefighters from Johnston, Ankeny, and 2 other departments responded to the blaze. The house was destroyed. Radio Iowa, I'm Matt Kelly.
Unity Point Health Trinity Regional Medical Center in Fort Dodge announced this week that the radiology department will now offer pet and cat services Monday through Friday. Previously, these services were available to patients 1 day a week. Unity Point Health said in a press release that the enhanced access not only provides convenience, but also improves patient care for timely clinical decisions. Governor Kim Reynolds will serve on a newly created American Workforce Advisory Board alongside Apple's CEO and Ivanka Trump. Radio Iowa's O.K. Henderson reports.
Secretary of Commerce Wilbur Ross will lead the 25-member group, which President Trump created by executive order. Trump is asking the board to come up with strategies to revamp the American workforce to meet 21st century challenges. The president's daughter, Ivanka Trump, says the goal is to help Americans navigate the economic disruptions new technology is creating. Iowa's governor and the governor of Indiana are the two state officials on the board, alongside the CEOs of Walmart, Home Depot, Visa, and IBM, as well as Apple's Tim Cook. Radio Iowa, I'm OK Henderson.
A report that ranks the states for their preparedness for public health emergencies places Iowa in the middle of the pack. Iowa scored 4 out of 10 for preparedness for diseases, disasters, and bioterrorism. John Auerbach, president and CEO of Trust for America's Health, says one category focuses on the immunization level for influenza, and Iowa ranked low.
That's a marker for how quickly the healthcare system could administer a vaccine in a major outbreak of a deadly epidemic. And less than half of the population that are recommended to get flu shots get them in Iowa.
The report, called Ready or Not, Protecting the Public's Health, also shows Iowa has room for improvement in terms of how well hospitals are prepared for halting the spread of harmful diseases or illnesses.
We looked at hospital quality safety measures, particularly with regard to controlling hospital-based infection transference or contagion within a hospital, and we found a lower percentage of the hospitals that met the national standards for protecting patients.
The report grouped the states into 3 performance categories. 17 states are in the upper tier, 20 in the middle tier, and 13 in the lower. According to Auerbach, I was in the middle tier in part because of issues with nitrates and other pollutants in the waterways. In local sports, Fort Dodge girls basketball travels to Sioux City West tonight for the opening round of the regional playoffs. Radio coverage is on 92.1 The Eagle starting at 7 p.m. St. Edmund girls basketball faces Appleton Parkersburg tonight in regional playoff action with radio coverage on Sunny 99.7 at 7 p.m. South Central Calhoun girls basketball takes on East Sac County at 7 p.m. on 105.9 The Beach. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge, 238. First of all, in the weather, cloudy today, high 25. Wind chill factor temperatures in the single digits, but not below zero. Overnight, mostly cloudy with temperature rising to 27 degrees by 9 o'clock this evening. Tomorrow, some patchy blowing snow in the afternoon hours, mostly cloudy. Temperature around 30, falling to 15 degrees around 6 in the evening. On Friday, sunny with a high of 13. Saturday, sunny with a high of 17. On Sunday, snow is likely in the morning, cloudy with a high of 21. On Washington's birthday, that's Monday, of course, illiterates, it'll be sunny with a high of 16 degrees. On Tuesday, it'll be cloudy with a high of 15. Right now, 22 degrees at AM 1400, KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Obituaries this hour brought to us by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1615 North 15th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. Joan Hovey has died. Joan Hovey's funeral is at 2 o'clock tomorrow at the Gunderson Funeral Chapel. Visitation is tomorrow from 1 to 2 for Joan Hovey. Ava Coppin has died. Services for Ava Coppin will be tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock at the First United Methodist Church. Visitation from 10 to 10:45 Thursday at the church, the First United Methodist Church, with Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services serving the family. Obituaries this hour brought to us by Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 1615 North 15th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-7128 or online at www.gundersonfuneralhome.com. It's 2:39 at AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. It's 22 degrees with a look at the closing market report. Here's Dwayne Murley.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. March corn up a half a cent at 3.78 3/4. May up a half a penny at 3.86 3/4. July up 3/4 at 3.94 1/2. And December corn up a half a penny at 4.02 1/2. March soybeans down a penny at 9.16 1/2. May down a penny at 9.30 3/4. July down 1 1/4 at 9.43 3/4. And November down 1 1/4 at 9.58 3/4. March wheat up 2 1/4 at 5.22 1/4. Soybean meal up 90 cents a ton at 3.10 February live cattle down 87 cents at 125.95. April down 90 at 126.97. March feeder cattle down 87 cents at 143.52. April down 57 at 146.07. February lean hogs down 2 at 55.15. April down 55 at 59.76. 888-878-3637. I'm Dwayne Murley.
Do you know your way around a computer like a teenager knows his way around the inside of a refrigerator with a burned out light bulb? Does the thought of spending your day tweaking websites make you feel like a 10-pound dog with a 20-pound bone? Then we want you! Alpha Media is now hiring a webmaster. If you have web design and computer science experience, a knowledge of digital marketing, a positive attitude, and great work ethic, apply now at alphamediausa.com. Just click on careers to get started. Alpha Media is an equal opportunity employer.
Let's face it, everyone loves to shop. From my experience of meeting a famous politician in the Hermes store in Paris,
to my unforgettable experience test driving my first 600 horsepower car, in which I said, I'll take it before it even hit 60 miles an hour.
we're pretty sure everyone has at least one unforgettable shopping experience. Hello. We are Carrie and
Ken,
founders of Income Store. Have you ever considered shopping for your next income? And we don't mean your next job. Did you know that you can walk into Income Store's website through a door on the left or a door on the right?
if you're just starting out or you simply have more time than money, you're going to enter our website on the left. If you've got more money than time, then definitely the right door is for you.
If you're looking to increase revenue in your home or business and would like to create a brand new, greatest shopping memory, all you have to do is change where you shop. Check out one of the two doors at incomestore.com.
That's incomestore.com.
Ride the bus with the Dart and Midas Transit.
Need to get somewhere in Hamilton, Pocahontas, Calhoun, or Humboldt County this winter? Midas will take you there. Live in Manson and need a ride to the grocery store? Midas will take you there. Live in Webster City and need a ride to the theater? Midas will take you there. Live in Rockwell City and need to get to the clinic? Midas will take you there. Call 800 Bus Ride. Midas, helping you get where you want to go. Your connection to Jefferson Lines.
Our job here is getting you there. Ride the bus.
The following message has been paid for by the Iowa Department of Agriculture and Land Stewardship. If you sell fruit and vegetables commercially in Iowa, the FDA's produce safety rule likely affects you. To find out if you are in compliance and to learn about training classes and resources offered by the Iowa State University Food Safety Team, visit iowasafeproduce.com. The training team is coming to the 4-H building at the Decatur County Fairgrounds in Leon on February 28th. Registration ends February 20. This message was supported by FDA Grant 5810 and does not necessarily represent the official views of the FDA.
Take the worry out of winter with a winter weather advisor on KVFD, brought to you by Community Health Center Fort Dodge, offering dental, behavioral health, and general medical assistance for men, women, and children. They're committed to your well-being. Community Health Center. Get to know them. And Creative Cakes, making life sweet with espresso, lunch, gourmet cupcakes, and other sweet treats. Creative Cakes in the Crossroads Mall, Fort Dodge. They make life sweet. Listen for the winter weather advisor on the Voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD.
Michael Devine at AM 1400.
In the name of justice and the American way of life.
With 60 rounds of freedom.
You don't have bad luck. The reason that bad things happen to you is because you're a dumbass.
Michael Devine, the mayor of Manville.
It's a fancy title for a part-time job.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
That's where you're at, AM 1400 KVFD, and I am Michael Devine. On the air with City Councilman Terry Menke, poet, warrior, scholar, porn star. We're here to discuss truth, justice, and the American way, and push back on the oppressive forces that are coming from the City Council. Who really want us to stay in the 1930s, back in the good old days.
That's not true.
Oh, really?
You're making that up.
Okay.
You're just being controversial, just trying to get me riled up. It's not going to happen.
I know how it is when you get riled up. You start making snide, snarky remarks.
Yeah, how can you tell that from my normal behavior?
and you tell somebody so you know it's going to get back to me or your intended victim. That's very passive aggressive, doctor. You should see somebody about that.
I talk to a lot of people during the day, and it's not my fault. Some of them repeat what I say.
Oh, by the way, Tim Kreinbrink, this is what he said.
Well, he did tell me that.
I believe you. Oh, I believe you.
Yeah,
I believe you.
About it.
He doesn't want to deal with it. Of course, I still work here, so he's going to have to deal with it.
Yeah,
well, I do it, and I know you have a list.
I have a long list.
You have a community calendar there.
No, not yet.
But from what I understand, there is already a group of people forming to keep multi-family housing out of apparently Dave Flattery's entire ward, away from the middle school, away from the aquatic center. The only place apparently they may be inclined to see multifamily housing would be the landfill.
I've kind of heard rumors to that effect.
Oh, I can tell you it's the truth.
It's kind of funny that you know, a lot of the people that are organizing that are people that have property in town, you know, that are threatened by the maybe coming of multifamily housing.
You mean they're slumlords?
No. There's some quality property out there. The problem is that there just isn't the kind of property that a lot of these young people that are coming into town want to rent.
Okay, so you're talking about people who own multifamilies already that may be in an aged condition.
That and single family homes that are not in very good shape. A lot of these guys, when they come out of college, you know what it was like to be young. I mean, all of a sudden you're making
I don't remember.
60, 70,000 a year out at the Iowa Crossroads Global Innovation. You don't want to live in a house that's, 100 years old.
No.
The water's cold all the time and the wind comes through the windows. You want a nice place. And we just don't have nice places in Fort Dodge at this point.
What do we have for multifamily housing?
Well, I'm talking about single and multifamily. Multifamily, I mean, obviously there's some properties, the Becker Apartments. You got there's numerous ones. I mean, there's some up in Knollcrest that are fourplexes that are considered multifamily. There's a lot of them around, but a lot of those are people that have lived in those for a long time. A lot of them are retired people that don't want to mow and shovel, snow anymore, kind of like me.
And me.
Yeah. And so I think there's a dire need for multifamily housing and apartment complexes. And again, the other night, and I'm not going to tell you that we're not looking for single family homes, because we would love to have a developer come into town and say, I want to build, 100 affordable single family homes. That would make everybody just ecstatic. But the problem is that we're getting people, the developers that are coming in, see a need for multifamily housing. They're the ones that are driving the conversation at this point. There's 2 or 3 developers that have approached the city staff in the last few months that have looked for large areas where they can put housing. And so our goal on Monday night was basically, because the land use map hasn't really updated that particular need and desire in the last few years. And so now we're looking at places based on water and sewer and storm sewer, and also the neighborhood itself, as far as what's available, what we can utilize, and how we can bring these things in. And that's what we did Monday night. It's not that we don't want single family housing, because we do want single family housing. We would love to have that $150,000 house being built, but the developers that are coming in are specifically looking for multifamily locations.
Well, Denny Crimmins is on the Planning and Zoning Commission, along with Mike Doyle, Steve Kirsten, Jim Kesterson, Jamie Lara, and Lisa Wilson, and Kim Model.
Kim.
I don't know what Kim's doing hanging out with those guys, but there she is. So we have a couple of guys there, as I recall, who are developers and are interested in owning property and moving forward. By the way, Denny Crimmins suggested maybe out by Rolling Hills.
Yeah,
I suppose he's being run out of town on a rail as we speak.
No, that was actually one of our prime areas. That's one area where a developer specifically asked and looked at in the recent past. So I'm kind of surprised that that particular area wasn't included in their suggestions and recommendations. Again, the key to this is first off, you have to have a willing seller. And we haven't identified any willing sellers. We've identified pieces of property, and we've kind of classified them according to what they're close to as far as infrastructure work and streets and close to shopping centers. My push in the last few weeks has been, why don't we look at the Sears property, knock that down, and bring in residential with retail on the bottom. To me, that would keep it right in the retail area. It would be visible. It would be a desirable place to live. It would be, close to everything that people wanted. And shopping and infrastructure is already there, and it would clean up a very unsightly area of town. But again, it's a smaller space, and a lot of these people are looking for larger areas to put more complexes in. But
out by the middle school, and by the aquatic center, I thought that's what we wanted. I thought that was, as I recall, when we voted on the aquatic center, and there was a big fight because it looked like the aquatic center was going to be moved away from the neighborhoods.
Right.
The answer was there's going to be a development out there, and then there was a lot of suspicion on who owned the land out there and who was going to benefit, and all these kind of fights. And that's the aquatic center is there, the school is there, and there's plenty of land there.
Yeah.
What's the problem?
East of the Aquatic Center has already been on the land use map, has been looked at for multifamily housing, and is classified for that. The area where KDG wanted to develop to the north was not on the multifamily plan and is not on the multifamily plan that's been submitted to planning and zoning. So the KDG, when they came in, they basically found a piece of property that they liked. They found a seller that was willing to sell it, and they did not want to utilize the property to the east that's already been set up for multifamily. They wanted to carve out a section of ag ground. But I don't know. I mean, to me, it makes sense that 32nd's a well-developed road, can handle the traffic. I think the infrastructure's out there. I think the potential growth in that area would be conducive to a mixed use. I just don't want to see a bunch of apartments plopped up out in the middle of an ag ground. I would like to see single family, some park area and trail space out there, and multifamily and single family homes integrated like a lot of these communities do.
Well, usually, Terry, and I'm not a professional in the area, but doesn't the housing come first and then those other things follow?
Well, that's part of the planning process. And again, that's with Rolling Hills. That's been platted out for, single family homes forever. Judge Habhab owns that property out there.
The judge?
Yep, the judge does. And, we actually addressed that issue I think it was 2 years ago. He actually came back and wanted street width reduced a little bit. And so we had some discussion about that with the fire trucks being able to get in there and everything. And I really thought at that point, since that was kind of when Prestige made their announcement, that maybe the judge was going to look at developing that property out there. But now they're looking at it for multifamily. Again, you do have the, I guess it's Section 8 apartment house out there right behind the sports page. So that would be a location.
That's Section 8? I thought that was for older folks.
No, that's Section 8.
Really?
The older folks is the one that's kind of west of the middle school, south and west.
You know what a Section 8 is in the military?
Yeah, psycho.
Yeah, that's it.
Mental. Yeah.
How can you be so insensitive to refer to our mentally ill brethren as psychos? What are you trying to do? Be a radio announcer? This job could be open. You never know. Quickly. Day to day.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, we didn't do anything. We didn't rezone anything. We had a discussion about the potential use of land adjacent to the what we want, the infrastructure and the roads and the neighborhoods. And so there was no action taken. I mean, there's no intent or any indication that any of these properties will be developed in multifamily. Again, we did have some discussion with a couple of developers, but I haven't heard anything farther than that. And I know they were looking at a larger section of property, which really we don't have, and to me, I think we do have a need for multifamily housing. We have a very strong need for single family housing. And I think we're addressing that with the Williams Bend project. There's about 140 single family homes going in out there. But again, they're going to be more expensive than what a lot of people can afford. So we need affordable single family homes. And that's what we're really looking for.
I was just thinking that Dr. Psycho would be a great DJ name. Kind of like Dr. Jockenstein, operating on your mind till 9.
There we go. That'd be perfect. But again, you got to have a willing seller. And I don't know if any of these properties were identified, I don't even know if they knew their property was being considered. Did somebody call Mr. Van Diest up and say, hey, your property is going to be multifamily? He doesn't care. He just wants to keep it ag ground for right now because that's the lowest tax rate around. So he doesn't want it rezoned for residential. He wants to keep it ag unless somebody comes in. And I know Litchfield, the KDG people talked to him and the price was too high. So it's going to take a lot of money to buy some of this ground because they know what they got. That's what the market will pay. So can't help you. I don't have the money to buy it.
Oh, you do too.
Yeah. So anyway, I touched over the break a little bit about the dam removal. If you haven't had a chance to go down there and hang around, it's about gone.
Oh, God, I hate it when you get humble. Yep. I don't have the money. That's the first time I ever heard you say that.
The little dam is, I think there's about 20 feet left. That guy from Rachel Contracting has been down there. He starts early, 7 o'clock in the morning. And I noticed the other night he was going until 7 o'clock at night. He's got his lights on. So he's out there hammering away. That was a project that was going to take a couple weeks, but the water was a little high and he had a little equipment problem last week. But once he finishes up with the little dam, and he'll move up to the hydroelectric dam, which is going to be exciting to see how he's going to attack that. So I would imagine he'll probably move up there within the next week or two and start hammering more on that. So get a chance to see history disappear. So there is a meeting tomorrow, the Opportunity Zone, which I'm sure you're up to date on with all your money. There's a certain census track with the income levels that's been identified in Fort Dodge. This was a act of Congress in 2017. If you get capital gains, you can reinvest it into a community and actually look at property improvements, purchasing, and upgrades. I'll know more after I attend the session tomorrow. But this is going to affect the downtown area, and basically it's going to be a very interesting Manhattan. What is it? I think the people we hired, the retail coach and Vicky Reek, and
the retail coach.
Yeah, the guy we hired to look at bringing retail into Fort Dodge. And there's an investment firm that's going to be presenting tomorrow.
But we need more studies.
Yep. Well, this is a good, I think if we can draw the people in, but again, if we don't have a mall that's willing to look at these people when we get them here, I don't know what we're going to do. That's another story.
We're poised for growth.
We have been for years.
We're poised.
Yep. Again,
we're in the 3-point stance, all set to take off. Buddy.
Yeah, I know it. Well, unemployment's down. We got a lot of people that are looking for workers. If you're not working, there's probably a reason why, but there's a lot of job opportunities out there. I see Van Dies and Cargill are, I think, all hiring, and it's well over $20 an hour, which is, I don't know, 3 times what a radio job pays, I think, isn't it? 4 times? Holy mackerel.
But 1/10 of what a optometrist makes in a month.
I've made a lot of money in the last hour. But anyway, we are...
Actually, you've been on here advertising Minky.
The fire station bid will be coming in on the 19th. It'll be interesting to see where that comes in. The public hearings will be on the 25th. But the bids are due on the 19th, so we're going to get a chance to see where that fire station comes in. The bids on 5th Avenue South between 31st and 32nd will be due on the 28th, and we'll do the public hearing the 1st of March. Yep, 1st of March. I can't believe it's almost March already. And the Avenue B water main, which was actually discussed in 2014. We're actually going to do that now. That will be, bids are due on the 28th and public hearing will be on the 11th. So there's a lot of construction work coming up. We still have 1st Avenue South and Central and 15th Street, which will be coming up. That'll probably be a $3.5 million project, which is going to tear that road up this summer, and we're hoping to get that done. Also, 22nd Street up past from 2nd North all the way up to about 10th North will be torn up. There'll be some stormwater work up there and a new road up in front of St. Ed's. And looks like 14th Street to the north will be taken care of this year too. So not going to see quite as much mill and overlay. I think you're going to see a lot more reconstruction this year. And the GEO bond, again, will have an additional $1 million for street work in it. So we're hoping to get 2nd Avenue North from about 22nd over to the railroad tracks is really deteriorating. Avenue M out there by the new CFR is pretty bad shape. So maybe we can throw some money at them and do some work out there. I know Country Club would like to get their road redone, and so would Rolling Hills. There's a lot of areas in town that need a lot of work, but again, we're doing what best we can with what we got.
Of course.
And we're going to start very quickly once the ground thaws. I think in 1st of April. You're an old road guy. You should know that.
It's usually the 1st of April.
1st of April. Yep. Get all those guys back out there and doing their work. And Prestige is still hiring, so we're going to see them up and operational, I think, the 1st of March or 2nd of March or something, somewhere in there. They said they're going to get going. So,
yeah, they're ready to roll. Greg Hora, who will not be in after you, Linda Klein will be, but Greg told me it was going to be pretty soon. Oh, we're out of time. Dr. Terry Mankey's been our guest. Thank you for listening.
From tuning an engine to replacing a fuse, you can learn it all under the hood. Heard every Saturday afternoon from 2 till 4 on the voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD. Fort Dodge.
The clock keeps ticking. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. A tentative deal to avoid another government shutdown, not ready quite yet. Fox's Jared Halpern live on Capitol Hill.
Well, the House and Senate could both take up the spending bill tomorrow, though negotiators are still finalizing the legislative text. The agreement reached would fully fund the government to the fiscal year and provide $1.37 billion for border barriers, far less than President Trump had requested.
Neither side got everything it wanted in this bill, but both sides want to avoid another shutdown. Democrats, Republicans, House, Senate.
The Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer is urging the president's support. So far, the White House says it's withholding judgment until it has reviewed the final product. Lisa.
Or Jared, as the president put it, he says he'll be looking for landmines when he sees the finished proposal. The head of FEMA just announcing he is resigning. Brock Long calls it the honor of a lifetime to have served as FEMA administrator at the helm during more than 200 declared disasters over the past 2 years. But he says it's time to head home to his wife and sons. Long says Deputy Administrator Peter Gaynor will serve as acting FEMA chief. Tomorrow marks 1 year since the deadly shooting at a Florida high school. The state's new governor just holding a news conference. Fox's Evan Brown live in Miami.
Lisa, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is ordering grand jury to investigate how Florida school districts implement campus security. He says it will conduct a long investigation tasked with providing a clear picture of the state of school safety.
This statewide grand jury will have full-bore subpoena power. They will be able to compel witnesses. They will be able to compel documents.
Now, the governor, speaking in Broward County on the eve of the year mark of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooting, says the grand jury will not focus entirely on Broward County either, Lisa.
Thanks, Evan. Back-to-back rallies on Wall Street. The Dow up 113 at the bell. This is Fox News.
This is Peter on his motorcycle.
Whoa, the open road!
And this is Peter off his motorcycle.
Please move your paper off my desk. Thank you.
On his motorcycle.
I feel so alive!
Off his motorcycle.
I feel like we covered that already, so...
On.
Wow! Look at the ocean!
Off.
Look at this article I found about urban planning.
You're better on your bike. Progressive helps keep you on it. Get a quote in as little as 3 minutes at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Attention, everyone. I have a President's Day pro tip. You need to go to Dell.com/business deals right now because Dell's President's Day sale is live as we speak, and it's monumental. Get deals on Dell business computers with 8th Gen Intel Core processors and business tech, plus doorbusters up to 45% off. Call 877-BUY-DELL now to talk to Dell's small business technology advisors and get personalized help finding the best tech at President's Day prices. Free shipping included. Again, call 877-BUY-DELL.
U.S. Army commanders are vowing action after horror stories about military housing, including black mold, rats, even mice eating through infants' pacifiers in their cribs. Detailed at a Senate hearing today.
The testimonies we've heard today are heartbreaking in terms of the impact on the health of the families and children of the nation's 1.2 million service members and represents a major readiness issue. 3 of the thousands or so military families who have complained about poor housing conditions testified before the Senate Armed Forces Subcommittee moments ago. They blame birth defects and disease on the slum-like conditions.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon. The Army Secretary and Chief of Staff just releasing a joint statement saying they are deeply troubled by the reports, calling it unacceptable, and pledging to hold chain of command and private contractors accountable. Police in New York City still investigating the friendly fire death that happened during an attempted robbery.
The worst feelings you can have, the worst thing that we ever go through as a police department.
Through that emotion, Chief of Department Terrence Monahan says there are still many facts to find about the circumstances of Detective Brian Simonson's death.
We don't know at this point who shot who at this point. We know there's a lot of shots. It's a chaotic scene.
Investigator Kevin Maloney says they do know Christopher Ransom's action prompted the shots from inside the T-Mobile store.
He holds up his hand with the firearm in his hand, and he simulates that he's firing at the officers.
Surveillance and body cam footage are being reviewed to pinpoint what happened. In New York City, Gernal Scott, Fox News.
So recapping the rally on Wall Street, again, the Dow up more than 100 points, up 118 as the numbers continue to settle. Hope for progress in trade talks with China getting part of the credit. The S&P and the NASDAQ also finishing higher. And Lisa Brady, this is Fox News.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. The cause of a deadly house fire in Central Iowa is under investigation, as Radio Iowa's Matt Kelly reports.
The house is located in Polk County between Ankeny and Des Moines.
The sheriff's office says 911 calls about the fire were made shortly before 4:30 this morning. Authorities say they found the body of an adult inside the home, though no further information about the victim was released. Firefighters from Johnston, Ankeny, and 2 other departments responded to the blaze. The house was destroyed. Radio Iowa, I'm Matt Kelly.
Unity Point Health Trinity Regional Medical Center in Fort Dodge announced this week that the radiology department will now offer pet and cat services Monday through Friday. Previously, these services were available to patients 1 day a week. Unity Point Health said in a press release that the enhanced access not only provides convenience, but also improves patient care for timely clinical decisions. Governor Kim Reynolds will serve on a newly created American Workforce Advisory Board alongside Apple's CEO and Ivanka Trump. Radio Iowa's O.K. Henderson reports.
Secretary of Commerce Wilbur Ross will lead the 25-member group, which President Trump created by executive order. Trump is asking the board to come up with strategies to revamp the Americas to help Americans navigate the economic disruptions new technology is creating. Iowa's governor and the governor of Indiana are the 2 state officials on the board, alongside the CEOs of Walmart, Home Depot, Visa, and IBM, as well as Apple's Tim Cook. Radio Iowa, I'm O.K. Henderson.
A report that ranks the states for their preparedness for public health emergencies places Iowa in the middle of the pack. Iowa scored 4 out of 10 for preparedness for diseases, disasters, and bioterrorism. John Auerbach, President and CEO of Trust for America's Health, says one category focuses on the immunization level for influenza, and Iowa ranked low.
That's a marker for how quickly the healthcare system could administer a vaccine in a major outbreak of a deadly epidemic. And less than half of the population that are recommended to get flu shots get them in Iowa.
The report, called Ready or Not, Protecting the Public's Health, also shows Iowa has room for improvement in terms of how well hospitals are prepared for halting the spread of harmful diseases or illnesses.
We looked at hospital quality safety measures, particularly with regard to controlling hospital-based infection transference or contagion within a hospital, and we found a lower percentage of the hospitals that met the national standards for protecting patients.
The report grouped the states into 3 performance categories. 17 states are in the upper tier, 20 in the middle tier, and 13 in the lower. According to Auerbach, I was in the middle tier in part because of issues with nitrates and other pollutants in the waterways. In local sports, Fort Dodge girls basketball travels to Sioux City West tonight for the opening round of the regional playoffs. Radio coverage is on 92.1 The Eagle starting at 7 p.m. St. Edmund girls basketball faces Appleton Parkersburg tonight in regional playoff action with radio coverage on Sunny 99.7 at 7 p.m. South Central Calhoun girls basketball takes on East Sac County at 7 p.m. on 105.9 The Beach. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Cloudy skies this afternoon with highs around 25. Southeasterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Overcast skies tonight, lows level off around 21. Tomorrow, highs level off around 29. High of 13 Friday under overcast skies. 17 Saturday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 23.
Blue Ribbon, Pelham Waters, your water pro since 1949.
Who would have thought there'd be entire aisles devoted to bottled water, and that people would buy more water than pop? I'm Brian with Blue Ribbon Pelham Waters here in Fort Dodge. Spring water, drinking water, mineral water. There's so many choices, and we're proud to offer you them all. From our own refreshingly pure drinking water to ultra-pure Mountain Valley spring water, Blue Ribbon Pelham's is your complete water store.
First State Bank, first for you.
First State Bank and its ag lenders are first for you. They have the desire to work with you and the authority to make their decisions locally. When it comes to agriculture, they strive to be your #1 financial institution leader. Stop in or give Fort Dodge Ag Loan Officers Craig Barber or Emily Lawler a call to see how they can help you grow. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
First State Bank, first for you.
The Iowa Outdoor Store presents its 3rd annual Jerk Off, the Deer and Wild Game Jerky and Sausage Contest, Saturday, February 23rd. If you've got making jerky down to a science, be there to compete for prizes in 3 categories. Just want to eat? Then be there from 1 till 3 for free samples of some of the best jerky and sausage around. Bring your friends and vote for your favorites at the 3rd annual Jerk Off, Saturday, February 23rd at the Iowa Outdoor Store at the junction of Highways 169 and 7 Fort Dodge.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Listen to this.
Making radio great again.
You don't have bad luck. The reason that bad things happen to you is because you're a dumbass.
Michael Devine at AM 1400.
In the name of justice and the American way of life.
With 60 rounds of freedom.
All right, here we go. Linda Klein's here.
We got the Refugees All-Stars, Rubber Dubbin in the club, Wyclef Jean Forte, Roswell.
Staying Alive, done to a rap theme. I love that. Linda Klein is here. Linda's with the ISU Extension Service. How are you, Linda? What's going on today?
Hi there, Mike. Well, it's not snowing right now, and the wind is not blowing, I don't think.
No, you're absolutely right. Checking the weather forecast, as I have several times today, it's still going to be winter for another week with a little snow. That'll take us through the 3rd week of February. But February is always a tough month. It's always a tough month. Hopefully into March, it'll lighten up on us a little bit.
Well, we've had snowstorms in March, too, so you never know what might happen.
Last year, we had 3 snowstorms between April 1st and April 15th. I had about enough of that.
Yep.
It was a very weird year last year. I mean, Steve Peterson with the Farm Bureau will be in here tomorrow, and we've talked about it a lot.
Yep.
I mean, the fall season was wet and cold. In the spring season, as far as the planting season, for that matter, was wet and cold.
Right.
So hopefully we'll do better this year.
But you never know. Farmers have to deal with it as it goes, and they get kind of anxious when that, the first dryness comes and whatever.
Well, I could never be a farmer. If I, their lives are at the mercy of the weather, and I'd probably drink.
Well,
I'd probably drink a lot.
That's why Extension is concerned about them, Mike. We have a Iowa Concern hotline that farmers or anybody can call. I mean, it doesn't have to be farmers, but Steve could probably tell you and anybody that, the farmers with low commodity prices have, might be struggling a little bit. So we, as your neighbors and friends and church members and people that go to school with them and whatever, need to just, make sure they're doing okay. That, maybe they have stopped coming to coffee or whatever. You just need to check in on them, make sure that their mental attitude is doing good. And that can happen to anybody, just not farmers with low commodities, but anybody. So Iowa State does have a concern hotline that people can call.
I wonder if you see that more with empty nesters. We have a lot of older farmers. Steve Peterson's not older.
Right.
He's a man in his 30s still, I think. But there's a lot of farmers that farm into their 60s, certainly, and beyond.
Right.
They're not going to give it up. And they become isolated out on the farm, but a lot of times they grew up on that same farm.
Right.
But it is a different thing, I think, to be out on the farm and maybe get a case of the blues or whatever you want to say.
Well, it's just they've had a few years of low prices, and when you've taken out the reserves for your savings to use to put back into the farm, and then you're just not making that income like you used to. Sometimes our Iowa State people, they're just a little bit worried about them, and we just need to check on everybody.
Well, I hate to say it, the farmers just a few years ago when Obama was president, I was never a big fan of Obama's, but he had a lot of, there was no problem exporting ag products when Obama was president. He was getting ready with the Trans-Pacific Partnership Act that Trump shot right down. And of course, now we've had embargoes and trade wars and on and on and on. Boy, I hope this gets straightened out pretty damn quick.
Yep.
I've been saying that for months.
I think that happened last fall or summer it happened. Yeah. So yeah, we're still waiting, Mike, and it's February.
I know, and that's a sad thing. That's no good. We can't have that. And I wonder if there's a reason for it. Nobody's convinced me as of yet, but nobody in Washington listens to me, Linda, surprisingly enough. I think they should, but
you just would have to jump up and down higher or something, I don't know, Mike, what the answer is, Yeah, I've been out there too with the 4-H kids, and you know, they are good about talking to you, but I'm sure when they all get together and have to make their little votes, you know, they vote on however they do it.
Yeah, that's true. Is there anything going on with you're the program coordinator? You don't do just 4-H. What is
Nope.
going on?
So I don't do 4-H. Lindsay Kavanaugh does that, and she has lots of different programs coming on. Her 4-H kids, I know, have partnered with a conservation group, and Aaron Ford, they went out and did ice fishing on Saturday in that little wind and cold, and they had fun, and the kids learned how to ice fish, and she has some cooking projects going on. So the 4-H kids are keeping very busy, and she had county interviews, and she's suffering like every other organization where, you know, things get canceled and you have to reschedule things. So that's just what happens when the weather gets bad. But, oh yeah, Mike, I've got lots of programs coming up that I could tell you about, you know.
Let me hear it.
Well, I've been trying with Strengthening Families, and Strengthening Families is a program for 6th graders and their parents. And, you know, you wouldn't think that would be a fun workshops to come to, but we've been doing it here in Fort Dodge for 18 years and put through probably over 1,000 families. And those families learn about bullying, how to work with their peers, you know, just that one-on-one time you get with your mom and dad that sometimes maybe you wouldn't get. 19 families that went through the program this fall really liked it, but you know, it's just been a struggle with the weather, Mike, to get people to sign up. But you know, if I don't by Friday, then that's just how it goes, and we'll try again with something else.
Well,
So,
there's such a thing as cabin fever, I suppose.
Well,
some folks have it.
yep, and you just you know, you send out flyers and you talk to the kids and the parents, and it's just one of those things. But that is a good program that we try to continue to do all the time. And we're going to have a horticulture transplant workshop next week that one of the master gardeners is going to put on the 19th. And so people should call the office because we need at least 5 people signed up in order to make sure that program's a go. So, I mean, just different things like that. And we did a webinar last week for the master gardeners. So they're always learning.
You did a webinar?
A webinar. And that's just information from the Iowa State folks. You just turn on the computer and you know, the Iowa State are telling them about a different topic in their education.
Tell people how they can access those webinars.
Well, and so when we have them listed. Yvonne did a good job of listing.
Yvonne McCormick?
Yep.
Yvonne's terrific.
Yep. She does a good job, and she had put all the webinars together for March and April, and on our website at www.iastate Extension, Webster County. Those are all listed on there under activities and stuff, so they can sign up. We met some new master gardener people, new person that had been helping with the Polk County, the fair. You know, when you see all those prairie flowers down at the state fair and stuff, she had helped with them. So having new people come up to Fort Dodge, I mean, it's kind of exciting, and they'll bring new ideas to that master garden program.
Yvonne McCormick is who we're talking about. She's a horticulturalist, very, very talented person, very well educated person, and and very into what she's doing there. And it's I haven't had her on for a long time. Maybe I'll try to get her on in the future here. It's not exactly a gardening season, but
well, I bet you though, Mike, if we ask people, there are people thinking about their gardens. Or I just looked in a catalog during that snowstorm yesterday, and you know, you get interested in seeing what you're going to buy and how you're going to plant your garden and the seeds that you want. So yeah, those people are thinking about everything for the spring, and because they'll be here sooner than we think. So
well, that's okay with me. Can that be tomorrow? That would be sooner.
That would be nice. I do have an Iowa State commercial horticulturist coming up, Joe Hannon. He's coming up on Monday morning and having coffee.
Joe Hannon,
and he is our commercial horticulturist.
Okay.
And he has come up to like coffees, like 2 or 3 times a year. We'll spend time with those growers who are raising vegetables and pumpkins or whatever, see what their problems were last year, you know, those who are selling for the farmers markets, you know, because that's a niche in itself. He wants to know if they had any problems or issues, and you know, so anybody can attend those listening sessions. And I think he was going to talk about nutrients or micronutrients, and you know, to have a specialist come up from Iowa State, you know, that's a good time to learn.
I'm so impressed with Iowa State University. I mean, and I've talked about it several times on the air. I went down to the Farm Progress Show.
Oh, okay.
Last fall or in August, late August. And Iowa State had a tent there, and I spent the better part of a day there talking with those young people with advanced degrees. Most of them were in their early 30s, and it's like they can see the future in a way that I can't. I don't know how else to explain it.
Right.
And I was very, very impressed with those people. But over the many, many years, I've talked with people from Iowa State University, including the current president.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always come away so impressed and a bit humbled, I'll tell you, because those folks, I'll tell you.
Well, and they just have so many different programs, or even like in the ag stuff that you got to look at during the Farm Progress Show. I mean, just the upcoming technology and what they're doing and the reports that they can get, who would have thought, just talking, what can you get off your cell phone after you program it into your combine or your planter? I mean, it's just, or the soil maps or whatever.
That's exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, we actually will have combines in the field in the next few years without a farmer in it. The farmer will be sitting in his house, guiding the combine if need be, or the tractor for a planter or whatever, on a iPad or something.
Well, somebody's got to be out there. You have to take off that head to go to the next field.
Yeah, so right now that's what
right.
I would.
But maybe if that combine's going to go 24/7, then it can be smaller and won't have to be so big.
Think back when we were young people. Could have we even imagined the world that we live in now?
My dad, who lived in Audubon County, those have hills and whatever. To see the combines up here now, it's a whole different world, Mike. And so it's just
it is unbelievable. And
but when those young adults go down to Iowa State and learn all that and come back, I mean, they're all excited and ready to go working at New Co-op or Landis or wherever. I mean, it's
so impressed.
Those companies are really big.
So impressed. I mean, the quality of education. I mean, I don't remember Iowa State kids being that smart. I mean, certainly they were. It's just they grew up with iPhones. They grew up with technology and are comfortable with it, and they found so many different ways to use it, and it's just amazing.
I have always talk to you about my women in ag classes. So we do have a workshop going, and those have only been canceled a couple of times because of the snow, but finally, hopefully on March 7th, we get to see some drones and how they work, and working with Iowa Central and another young man who went to Iowa State and learned about those drones. So, I mean, that's exciting to see what he can take, and hopefully he's going to be able to show us, flying over a field or a pasture or something, what he can all get from just that little drone going and flying over. So, and how those women can use it in their own farm. So,
well, it's not only that, but it's, the study that's going on to each individual seed and where it needs to be planted, and just on and on and on. It's really a remarkable thing, and I'm so impressed. I'm just so impressed, I guess. It's quite the world that we live in.
So I'm doing another weird workshop. You wouldn't think, that I'm doing one for poultry owners here in maybe Fort Dodge or living in town, because I think we have a lot of chickens and whatever living in Fort Dodge.
We used to have chickens down in Coleman District.
Yeah.
I mean, they grandfathered in. People had chickens in their backyard.
And I think there's plenty of them around Fort Dodge and whatever. And, so I've got a person from Iowa State coming to do a workshop on that. Somebody who's from Extension, and she's going to talk about, how to get your birds in the best feed and the best care. But, those backyard flock owners, which I know because of working with the 4-H kids, that here in Fort Dodge, there's still plenty of them. And just talking to the animal control, there's just a need for people to know, and how maybe best to be cognizant of their neighbors, and not to have a rooster in town, and, those little things like that. So that's going to be on March 3rd. That's a Sunday. I was thinking that might be the better time, from 4 to 5:30. And so we'll see. You never know what might interest people, but that's another workshop I'm doing.
Did we tell people how to access those webinars we were talking about a little while ago?
They can go on, sometimes they have to sign up through the extension office, and then they're just showed at a certain time.
Okay.
So
but they get notified, I'm sure.
Yep. And so, or they can come to my office and we'll play them for them at that night.
Okay.
So, yep.
But they can watch them at home. If
Yep,
they're
sometimes
signed
they can watch them at home too. So,
okay. Do they have to be a farmer, or?
Oh, it depends on what's going on. Some of those webinars are for the horticulture type people, and those, will show periodically. So, we have all different types of things. And even if you go on the Iowa State Extension website, you can get webinars from childcare to family to cooking to agriculture to money management, everything.
All kinds of things. Yeah, I'm there right now. I'm at the website.
I bet you can find lots of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
On the four different issues, education areas that Extension works with.
And those four areas are what?
Human sciences. You're testing me, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes. Human sciences, ag and natural resources, youth development, and community and economic development. Ha!
Way to go.
I got them, didn't I?
Go.
There you go.
By the way, there is a Master Gardener Impact felt across Iowa that's coming up. Actually, it's going on. It started February the 11th, and it's on the Iowa Extension University website, and I'm sure that's very, very comprehensive. I don't see a video with it, but yeah, that's quite a. I'll tell you, if you're not familiar with Iowa State University Extension, you should be. You should go to. I used to get by the way, a commercial applicators pesticide safety course was this month as well. I used to have to take that every year.
Okay.
But I stopped doing that. I got too old to bounce around out there in the field. So.
Well, we'll do.
Or too lazy, whatever you want to say.
Yep. There'll be webinars for the guys who put on pesticides on your lawn. Those guys have to be trained every year, and so to the people that work for the co-op. So yeah, we handle a lot of those webinars for those people, and they sign up for them. So.
Oh, I forgot about the co-op guys.
Yep.
They probably
have to come into the aerial guys that you might see putting chemicals on the fields. Those guys all have to be certified and go through annual training. So.
Here's some webinars right here. Master Gardeners. There's a webinar for Master Gardeners. There are publications and webinars. Growing season webinars, at the Garden Gate webinar, all kinds of stuff.
Well, and a lot of Iowa State's taking pride in all the publications they have, where they're making them accessible to maybe people who can't visually see, and so they are rewriting them and making them more accessible to people.
All right.
So
Linda Klein is here. She's with the ISU Extension Service, and this portion of the program brought to us by the Webster County Pork Producers. We'll be back.
Michael Devine at AM 1400.
In the name of justice and the American way of life.
With 60 rounds of freedom.
You don't have bad luck. The reason that bad things happen to you is because you're a dumbass.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Listen to this.
Making radio great again.
It's 3:28. The news is coming up.
Iowa hog farmers have a lot to be proud of.
Proud of the quality products we put on tables around the world.
Proud of the strides we make to protect Iowa's natural resources.
Proud of the number of Iowans we're able to employ in safe workplaces.
Proud to protect and promote animal well-being in everything we do.
Iowa pork producers are proud because they do it right. And that's something all Iowans can take pride in.
Sponsored by Iowa's pork producers and their pork checkoff.
Iowa's pork producers work hard daily to produce safe, affordable food. Through the industry's We Care initiative, hog farmers are firmly committed to doing things right. That means keeping their pigs safe and healthy, safeguarding natural resources, protecting public health, and building strong communities. Producers fully understand the importance of pork quality, responsible production, and continuous improvement. It's the moral and ethical thing to do. Sponsored by Iowa's pork producers and their pork checkoff.
Message and data rates may apply.
When did it become okay for men to be lazier, softer, fatter? We need to bring the men of this country back to greatness. And it's easier than ever with Ageless Male Max, a patent-pending formula with an ingredient that helps boost your total testosterone, promoting greater increases in muscle size and twice the reduction of body fat percentage than exercise alone. Plus, an amazing 64% increase in nitric oxide, which can be handy in the gym and in the bedroom. Take your manhood to the max by trying your first 30-day bottle free. Just pay shipping and handling. Not 10 days, not 15 days, but a full 30-day supply free when you text the word FAST to 797979. Finally, a formula that boosts total testosterone. If your results with Ageless Male Max are too intense, please decrease use. For your free bottle, text FAST to 797979. Text FAST to 797979.
Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services.
Oh, why not just cremate me when I'm gone?
Sounds simple, doesn't it? However, there are many options to consider when cremation is chosen. From simple to detailed, we at Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services can help you create a unique commemoration.
Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. The cause of a deadly house fire in Central Iowa is under investigation, as Radio Iowa's Matt Kelly reports.
The house is located in Polk County between Ankeny and Des Moines. The sheriff's office says 911 calls about the fire were made shortly before 4:30 this morning. Authorities say they found the body of an adult inside the home, though no further information about the victim was released. Firefighters from Johnston, Ankeny, and 2 other departments responded to the blaze. The house was destroyed. Radio Iowa, I'm Matt Kelly.
Unity Point Health Trinity Regional Medical Center in Fort Dodge announced this week that the radiology department will now offer pet and cat services Monday through Friday. Previously, these services were available to patients 1 day a week. Unity Point Health said in a press release that the enhanced access not only provides convenience, but also improves patient care for timely clinical decisions. Governor Kim Reynolds will serve on a newly created American Workforce Advisory Board alongside Apple's CEO and Ivanka Trump. Radio Iowa's O.K. Henderson reports.
Secretary of Commerce Wilbur Ross will lead the 25-member group, which President Trump created by executive order. Trump is asking the board to come up with strategies to revamp the American workforce to meet 21st century challenges. The president's daughter, Ivanka Trump, says the goal is to help Americans navigate the economic disruptions new technology is creating. Iowa's governor and the governor of Indiana are the 2 state officials on the board, alongside the CEOs of Walmart, Home Depot, Visa, and IBM, as well as Apple's Tim Cook. Radio Iowa, I'm O.K. Henderson.
A report that ranks the states for their preparedness for public health emergencies places Iowa in the middle of the pack. Iowa scored 4 out of 10 for preparedness for diseases, disasters, and bioterrorism. John Auerbach, President and CEO of Trust for America's Health, says one category focuses on the immunization level for influenza, and Iowa ranked low.
That's a marker for how quickly the healthcare system could administer a vaccine in a major outbreak of a deadly epidemic. And less than half of the population that are recommended to get flu shots get them in Iowa.
The report, called Ready or Not, Protecting the Public's Health, also shows Iowa has room for improvement in terms of how well hospitals are prepared for halting the spread of harmful diseases or illnesses.
We looked at hospital quality safety measures, particularly with regard to controlling hospital-based infection transference or contagion within a hospital. And we found a lower percentage of the hospitals that met the national standards for protecting patients.
The report grouped the states into 3 performance categories. 17 states are in the upper tier, 20 in the middle tier, and 13 in the lower. According to Auerbach, I was in the middle tier in part because of issues with nitrates and other pollutants in the waterways. In local sports, Fort Dodge girls basketball travels to Sioux City West tonight for the opening round of the regional playoffs. Radio coverage is on 92.1 The Eagle starting at 7 p.m. St. Edmund girls basketball faces Appleton Parkersburg tonight in regional playoff action with radio coverage on Sunny 99.7 at 7 p.m. South Central Calhoun girls basketball takes on East Sac County at 7 p.m. on 105.9 The Beach. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice for Dodge. Is 3:34. First of all, in the weather, mostly cloudy the rest of today with a high of 25. Overnight, mostly cloudy with a temperature rising to 27 by 9 in the evening. Tomorrow morning, we'll have some blowing snow, mostly cloudy. Temperature maybe 30 degrees for a high. Wind chill factor temperatures will be 5 degrees below zero as we go through the day. On Friday, it's going to be sunny with a high of 13 degrees. Saturday, partly sunny with a high of 17. Sunday, snow likely. On Washington's birthday, Monday, it's going to be sunny with a high of 16. Tuesday, mostly cloudy with a high of 16 degrees. Right now in Fort Dodge, 24 degrees at AM 1400. KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. Obituaries this hour brought to us by Loftus Filer Seavers Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 307 South 12th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Loftus Filer Seavers Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-3156 or online at www.loftusfilerseaversfuneralhome.com. Diane Reisenberg has died at the age of 73. Diane T. Reisenberg passed away. Her funeral was this morning at 10 o'clock at Loftus Filer Seavers Funeral Home. Obituaries this hour brought to us by Loftus Filer Seavers Funeral Home and Cremation Services at 307 South 12th Street, Fort Dodge. You may contact Loftus Filer Seavers Funeral Home and Cremation Services by calling 515-576-3156 or online at www.loftusfilerseaversfuneralhome.com. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. It's 336, 24 degrees. With a look at the closing market report, here's Dwayne Murley.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. March corn up a half a cent at 378 3/4. May up a half a penny at 386 3/4. July up 3/4 at 394 1/2. And December corn up a half a penny at 402 1/2. March soybeans down a penny at 916 1/2. May down a penny at 930 3/4. July down 1 1/4 at 943 3/4. And November down 1 1/4 at 958 3/4. March wheat up 2 1/4 at 522 1/4. Soybean meal up 90 cents a ton at 310.10. February live cattle down 87 cents at 125.95. April down 90 at 126.97. March feeder cattle down 87 cents at 143.52. April down 57 at 146.07. February lean hogs down 2 at 55.15. April down 55 at 59.77. I'm Dwayne Murley.
You can cook with pork in so many different ways. You might be surprised. Hi, I'm Julie Harker with Healthy Living on Brownfield. Indiana chef Alan Sternberg cooks with pork every day. He says not only is it delicious, but there are many ways to prepare it.
It's got a lot of good fat in the, the shoulders, especially in the belly, and they transfer flavor really well. So it's fun to work with on that end of things. It's the animal that we get most of our charcuterie from, most sausages come from, but at the same time, you could roast a whole cut and it's fine. It's just there's so many things you can do with it that it's just a lot of fun to work with, and there's no limit with what you can do with a pig.
There can be a learning curve to cooking pork depending on the cut. But Jeanette Merritt with the Indiana Pork Producers Association says it isn't difficult.
There's always a learning curve sometimes in how to cook something other than ground pork. So we want them to know how to properly cook a pork loin, how to use a pork shoulder to make a really good pulled pork.
There are also many nutritional benefits to eating pork.
A pork loin is just as lean as a chicken breast. So you can go out and have a nice lean pork loin. You can eat, a nice pulled pork, skim some of the extra fat off maybe a little bit. Pork can really be part of a heart healthy diet. We've worked with the American Diabetes Association to get that message across as well. So we encourage people to find that cut of pork that works best with whatever eating plan that they're following.
For some unique recipes, visit forkmorepork.com. I'm Julie Harker with Healthy Living on Brownfield.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Why was the basketball court all wet? Because the players kept dribbling on it.
The dad joke. Corny, groan-worthy, but also one of the simplest ways to share a moment with your kids.
What did the buffalo say when he dropped his son off at school? Bye, son.
So take a moment to make your kid laugh, because dad jokes rule. Make your kid laugh today. Go to fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's premier home purchase lender. We've created a new way to protect you from unpredictable interest rates. Our exclusive Rate Shield approval. First, we lock your interest rate for up to 90 days. Then, if rates go up, your rate stays locked. But if rates go down, your rate drops. Either way, you win. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030. Additional conditions or exclusions may apply.
Message and data rates may apply.
When did it become okay for men to be lazier, softer, fatter? We need to bring the men of this country back to greatness. And it's easier than ever with Ageless Male Max, a patent-pending formula with an ingredient that helps boost your total testosterone, promoting greater increases in muscle size and twice the reduction of body fat percentage than exercise alone. Plus, an amazing 64% increase in nitric oxide, which can be handy in the gym and in the bedroom. Take your manhood to the max by trying your first 30-day bottle free. Just pay shipping and handling. Not 10 days, not 15 days, but a full 30-day supply free when you text the word FAST to 797979. Finally, a formula that boosts total testosterone. If your results with Ageless Male Max are too intense, please decrease use. For your free bottle, text FAST to 797979. Text FAST to 797979.
Ready to create your own income with your own home-based business where there's no such thing as getting laid off? If a billionaire entrepreneur spent 5 years and $20 million searching for the next big trend, wouldn't you want to know what he found? If you're serious about making money from home without having to leave home, then write this down. www.goherenext.com. You decide your income. Goherenext.com. Have you ever thought about saying goodbye to your job? Just walking into your boss and saying, I quit. And how would you like to commute to work without ever leaving your home? If a billionaire entrepreneur spent 5 years and $20 million searching for the next big trend, wouldn't you want to know what he found? If you're serious about making money from home without having to leave home, then write this down. www.goherenext.com. You decide your income. Get the facts now. Goherenext.com.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Listen to this.
Making radio great again.
You're saying a lot of words really fast that mean nothing.
Michael Devine, the doctor of truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
At AM 1400 KVFD.
That's right. I am the doctor of truth at AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge. You can join the program anytime by calling 515-955-1400. I'm also on Twitter at JMike1400. On YouTube, just go to youtube.com, then type in 1400 KVFD, and you'll see us audio and video. Now, this portion of the program, of course, brought to you by the Webster County Pork Producers. In the last segment, we're talking with Linda Klein. We will talk with Linda more in this segment, and we welcome to the program Anna Lewandowski. See, I got it right, didn't I? How are you, Anna? So nice to see you.
I'm good. How are you?
Well, Anna is the since Lewandowski is a recognizable name in some ways in our county. I'll remind everyone that her father is Dan Lewandowski, who is the director of the Webster County Veterans Affairs. No, that would be a good reason. I mean, to have a recognizable name. Yeah. You know, my name is, associated with other things. But I'm glad to see you here. How are you? You are with 4-H, or you are a member of 4-H?
Yeah, I'm a member of the Sunrise 4-H Club through 4-H.
The Sunrise 4-H Club?
Sunrays.
Sunrays.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Are you still in high school then?
Yes, I'm a senior.
Senior this year. Mm-hmm. Senior high or what school?
Harvest Baptist.
Harvest Baptist. You go over there. Okay. Mm-hmm. And what do you participate in the Sunrays?
Well, through our club, we do different activities. Like this past month, we were going to go ice skating, but I got canceled because of this weather. But we've also donated stuff.
That's great. Iowa's so cold you can't go ice skating.
That's right.
Perfect. That's perfect. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's fine. We also donate stuff to the animal shelter, and in the past, we've made meals for the Beacon of Hope. And
sure.
So
okay. Did you mention something about working with poultry a little earlier?
Yeah, I'm in Poultry Project, and I show my birds.
You have birds?
Yes.
Where do you keep them?
In the house and backyard.
In the house and backyard. Do you live here in Fort Dodge? Or?
Yes.
Okay. We used to have chickens here in Fort Dodge. I mean, there was, and I'm glad to see in a way that we still do. So do you raise a specific type of hen or rooster or?
It varies. I have a lot of different kinds, but I also have pigeons and quail and
you
ducks.
Do?
Yeah.
Pigeon and quail and duck. You don't get into specialty birds then necessarily, or do you?
What do you mean by specialty?
Well, I mean, when you say ducks, is it exclusively mallard ducks?
Oh,
or?
yeah. Well, right now I only have call ducks, but I also have khaki Campbell ducks at a farmer's house
Okay.
and a goose and a turkey.
Do you have a particular type of chicken that you like? Rhode Island Red? Or?
I like Sumatra chickens, but I don't have like a specific favorite. They're just pretty.
Sumatra? What did you say?
Sumatra. It's a chicken breed.
Sure. And what is it? How do you recognize a bird like that?
They look different. There's different color varieties, but the most common one is black, and they're more like athletic looking.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
We used to have, gosh, it's been a long time since I saw black chicken, Linda, you know. They used to have what were those, Linda? There were a lot of farmers had poultry on the farm. You are old enough to remember that, aren't you, Linda?
Right, my grandma had chickens.
Yeah, right. Almost all the farmers did then.
We did too.
There were those brown chickens. What were a lot of farmers had those. What were the name of it? Do you have any idea?
There's many brown chickens.
Many brown chickens, huh? Okay. Well, name the most common variety.
Well, by brown, I'm thinking more of like the red color. So probably, like you said, Rhode Island Red or New Hampshire Red.
Rhode Island Red is probably what they were. We used to, and that's a name that stuck in my head, the Rhode Island Reds. So do you eat a lot of poultry then?
None of mine. We have had meat chickens and we have butchered them, but I never eat them.
You never eat them?
Nope.
Because you've grown a little attachment to them?
Yeah, I shouldn't have named them. But,
but you still go to Colonel Sanders, right?
Yeah.
All right. There we go. Okay.
So, Mike, did you know that you can bathe chickens?
You can bathe chickens?
Right, get poultry ready for a show?
I'm sure that people who show chickens do that.
Yes, and Anna, I've seen some stuff on Facebook.
Yep, I bathe chickens and pigeons, and I don't bathe my ducks. I give them a pool and they bathe themselves. So.
Wait, what technique is used in bathing chickens for show?
You need different ingredients. You need soap. Use dish soap, but ivory dish soap works the best because it's better on the chicken's feathers. And then apple cider vinegar helps get rid of the soap and adds a shine. And then water, obviously.
Did you say ivory dish liquid?
Yeah, ivory dish soap.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, we had an oil spill a number of years ago, and a lot of birds were, well, covered in oil, and it was not a good thing to see. But some of the people who were involved in rescue used Dawn liquid, Dawn dishwashing liquid, because it was easy on the birds and it cut through the oil.
Sure.
I didn't hear him say ivory, but I'm sure ivory's every bit as good. Just one of those quirks, I guess.
Yep.
That was wild. So you use ivory soap.
Yep.
Chickens don't like that, but you got to hold them, don't you?
Yeah, sometimes they're kind of not the brightest things. They'll like dunk their head in the soap. You have to like quickly rinse their head off.
They dunk their head in the soap.
Yeah.
Well, can they hold their breath underwater? I wasn't aware of that.
No, they can't.
I was going to say, that is a dumb chicken, isn't
it?
Yeah, it is. So you go to the state fair and show the birds?
Yes, I show my chickens at State Fair and pigeons. And then recently I've been going around Iowa and I went to Minnesota for a pigeon show.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a special kind of pigeon that you show?
Like I have a variety. I have regular homers, show homers, rollers, show rollers, Modena, powders, nuns, helmets, classical frill, and so on.
Does your dad help you with this?
Sometimes he helps, but I pay for everything.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure that you do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty much your show then.
Yep.
Huh? Okay. Well, that's good. That's excellent. So are you going to college next year, or?
Yes, I plan to.
Where do you plan on going?
Iowa
if you
Central.
Don't mind Iowa Central.
Yeah.
I'm an alumni. I don't know if I should say that. Maybe she won't want to go, seeing how I turned out. I don't know. Did you go to Iowa Central, Linda?
No, I did not. I went to the University of Minnesota up in Waseca and became a veterinary technician. And then I came to Town and Country Veterinary Clinic. And that's where I started my first job. Long time ago.
It's been a while.
And that school is no longer a part of the university anymore. They made it into a prison after I graduated. So because of the farm crisis back in the 80s. So yeah, but they had a program where Iowa did not have a program at that time.
Okay.
But Mike, for Anna, she went from taking one bird and just learning about that, starting off in poultry, and now her outgrowth from that one little thing, just like a lot of the 4-H kids do, is to expand their knowledge, and it really multiplies, and they can take something they love and make a hobby out of it and continue to do it for their future, or even make a career out of it. You never know.
Yeah, you don't. You never know where life takes you, really.
Yep.
I was going to be a school guidance counselor, for example. But I realized I had no advice to give anyone, so I moved on. Well, that's terrific, Anna. Are any other members of your family involved in 4-H or?
Yes, I have 4 older brothers, and out of those 4, there's 3.
There's 3 that
they graduated now. But
they're graduated. Are you the youngest in your family?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right. So you kind of carried on the family tradition then.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
And she went on the Washington, D.C. trip last summer with me.
Mm-hmm.
I took it. And what was the best thing that you liked about the D.C. trip, Anna?
I like seeing all the different sites, but believe it or not, I actually like the bus ride. I like long bus rides.
You like long bus rides,
Yes,
really? You'd be the first person I met, but that's okay.
Have you been to D.C., Mike, to see all the?
Yes.
What did you like out there?
I like the.
Yes, when you went to the.
Yes, I lived on the East Coast for a couple of years and never went to see all the monuments in Washington, D.C.
Yep.
I lived, you talked about the 80s. I left and worked at a radio station just south of Virginia Beach there.
Sure.
And Washington, D.C. was right up the road, but I never did take a tour of the monuments.
Yep.
So when the honor flight started, the second or third or fourth one, I don't remember.
I
was asked to go along, which is very, very nice. And that's the Marine Corps Memorial up on the wall there, and that was my favorite.
Yeah.
But of course, the Lincoln Memorial was so impressive, and Washington D.C. is impressive.
Oh, definitely.
To go to Arlington National Cemetery was very solemn, and watch the changing of the guard. I mean, it was just wow. Those guys are so disciplined and so. It's so impressive to see them in action. It really is. I mentioned Arlington and the Marine Corps Monument, but of course the Vietnam Memorial is very inspiring to me, and sad at the same time. I guess that's the way it's supposed to be. And I don't think they had a memorial to the Korean War when I was there, or if they did, I didn't get to see it. We had time to see only so many.
Right. Yeah, there is the one for the Korean War. It's probably where you have to walk back by the Vietnam Memorial.
I think you're right now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. So if
we had a choice to go to
chain,
Vietnam, and of course I have friends and even a relative who was on that wall, so I definitely wanted to see that.
We had 4-Hers who were finding their loved ones or people their parents had known and etching them the names and stuff that week we were there. So that was quite impressive. Quite impressive. I mean, those guys that do that on our flight, my hat is off to them. I mean, Ron does an excellent job.
He really does, and I think they're still doing it, and more power to them. I suppose they'll work up to my war pretty soon. Oh gosh, time passes. Anna Lewandowski is our guest, along with Linda Klein here, and we're talking a little bit of what happens at ISU Extension. Of course, Linda is now the program manager and
program coordinator. Yep,
program coordinator, I should say, but she has worked with 4-H kids in the past. And what were you doing in Washington D.C.? Did you say, Anna?
We were just like seeing all the different monuments and like a tour. And
you just went as a 4-H group, or
throughout, like people from Iowa. We all went on a bus and went out.
Sure. So it wasn't exclusively a 4-H thing then.
Well, yes, it was.
Yeah, it was a 4-county trip.
Okay.
And so that we would take every 2 years to go out there. And so then they would stay at the National 4-H Center.
Oh.
And then they used to have a special program about learning what a bill is and making a bill. So the kids worked on that. And then they would go and talk to their senators and representatives. We saw Joni Ernst and we saw Grassley there.
That must have been impressive.
Yes.
I mean, to go into the Capitol building.
Yep.
So what was the most impressive part of your trip there, Anna?
Going in the White House.
I bet.
Yeah.
I bet. That's you're one up on me. I've never got to do that. Did the president come out and say hello or not?
No, I don't think he was there.
All right. Okay. Well, that would be quite a thing if you could have seen that. So what else is going on with ISU Extension in the near future there, Linda?
Well, one thing that I'm really proud of, Mike, is I've been working with the Gallery Development Commission, and we did a leadership class down there last year, and we have an entrepreneurship class from Iowa State going to Gallery next week on the 21st, and they'll be working with 8 businesses down there on the students, like 40 students will come. They'll be working on the business's marketing plan and develop proposals for the enhancements of those businesses. They'll work with those businesses over the next couple months over the semester. And then like April 30th, the kids will come back to Gallery and they'll do their proposal to those businesses and the public. So that is something that's kind of exciting and new to the southern part of our county. So everybody's kind of excited down the Gallery area.
I bet.
Yep.
I
And
bet.
so-
Gallery's a good town. I like
Yep.
Gallery.
And they've been really trying to build and get their, businesses increase and then make the Main Street more visible and more businesses on there. So, I mean, they've been working really hard.
Well, good.
So this is just one little facet that Iowa State has helped with that will help that town and help that community and help those small businesses.
Well, Gallery is one of the smaller towns in our county that seems to be doing okay.
Right.
Yep. Others aren't, and others, there's plenty of small towns up in Badger Super Bowl weekend. They seem to be doing the same. They're going right along.
Yep. They all keep trying. So
yeah. Well, that's the important thing. And there should be better economic news in the future.
I'm going to be doing a grant workshop April 4th, I think it is, on a Thursday night with Iowa Central. And so more information will come out later. But, grant writing, everybody needs to hone in on their skills because we're all kind of competing for the same dollars sometimes. And, where to find those dollars at and how to find the data that you need to put in that grant, where to find that research. So I've got Jane Gukin, one of our specialists, coming to do that workshop like that night at 5:30. So
all right.
Continues on.
Linda, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Linda Klein with the ISU Extension Service has been here, and we always appreciate the opportunity to talk with Linda. We've also talked with Anna Lewandowski from 4-H, so it's great to meet you, Anna. Please come back anytime.
Okay.
All right, say hello to your father for me.
I will.
All right, this is AM 1400 KVFT, the voice of Fort Dodge.
Michael Devine at AM 1400.
In the name of justice and the American way of life.
With 60 rounds of freedom.
All right, it's 25 degrees at 3:57. News is next.
What if I told you there was a way to step into another gear for your brain and be much sharper, more focused, and improve your memory to a level that you could only dream about and notice these results in 30 minutes? Hard to believe? Neuroscientists are calling this new brain discovery the biggest advancement in brain science to date. It's called Limitless, the brain pill of the future. Take it, and within 30 minutes, you'll transport your mind to a new level of focus and clarity you would have never thought possible.
I took Limitless and it started working in minutes. All of a sudden, it felt like a dark cloud had been lifted up right before my eyes. I have a mental clarity I've never felt before.
Biz execs, athletes, teachers, and students are calling Limitless a secret weapon for the brain. You have nothing to lose, so call now and find out how to get a free bottle today.
To find out how to get your free bottle of Limitless, call 800-681-9041. That's 800-681-9041. Free bottle for a limited time. Call now, 800-681-9041, 800-681-9041.
Connect to this radio station from all across the country. Tickets to the gym, shopping. How about a road trip? Listen to us now on the free iHeartRadio app. You'll never miss a moment with your favorite radio station. Download the free iHeartRadio app and search for this station so we can go wherever you want us to.
Party with a Purpose, Saturday, March 2nd during the 22nd Annual Sweetheart Gala. Imagine a world without heart disease or stroke. That's the driving mission of the American Heart Association. I'm Abigail Johnson, inviting you to join us at the Best Western Starlight Village. Social hour begins at 6. There'll be a silent and live auction, a DJ, and delicious dessert buffet and meal. Tickets are just $50 each. Come dance the night away at the 22nd Annual Sweetheart Gala, Saturday night, March 2nd at the Best Western Starlight Village in Fort Dodge.
The Domestic Sexual Assault Outreach Center would like to present the 24th Annual DSOC Cake Auction to be held on April 13th at Iowa Central Community College East Campus. Bring your friends and bid on live and silent auction items that are all paired with delicious and amazingly decorated cakes. All proceeds go to DSOC General Funds so that we can continue to provide free and confidential services to victims. At DSOC, we believe that everyone deserves a violence-free life. Don't miss the 24th Annual DSOC Cake Auction, April 13th at Iowa Central East Campus, Fort Dodge.
All right, this is AM 1400 KVFT, the voice of Fort Dodge. Coming up, news and weather. County Supervisor Keith Dinklaw is here, and the county assessor came in to assess this building and found out it has a negative worth. The county has to pay us because this building is so dilapidated, but we'll talk about that later. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 25 degrees. Thank you for listening to this program. My mom does. Keep my mom company. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
for exciting Panther sports. Keep it right here on your home for University of Northern Iowa sports in North Central Iowa. The voice of Fort Dodge, KVFD, Fort Dodge.
More turnover in the Trump administration. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. The head of FEMA stepping down. Fox's John Decker is live at the White House.
FEMA Administrator Brock Long announced in a statement that he's resigning after serving close to 2 years in his post, calling his tenure the opportunity of a lifetime. Since taking over the agency in June 2017, Long presided over the federal government's response to powerful hurricanes that struck the southeastern U.S. and Puerto Rico, as well as the devastating California wildfires. An Inspector General's report released late last year found that Long used government vehicles and staff on 40 trips for personal reasons, including during a family vacation in Hawaii. Despite official warnings, the practice was unauthorized. Lisa?
Thanks, John. Hazardous housing for military families, the focus of a Senate hearing.
I listened in horror as families at Camp Pendleton told of mice eating through pacifiers in their babies' cribs and electrical outlets catching fire due to wiring issues.
Crystal Cornwall, one of the military spouses who testified today, blaming disease and birth defects on slum-like conditions, including black mold. Fox's Jennifer Griffin at the Pentagon.
The Military and Family Advisory Network ran an online survey last month that received 16,000 responses from military families across the country, finding that 56% of those surveyed found living conditions in base housing was negative or very negative, with 6 base housing contractors mentioned over and over by respondents to the online survey.
The Army Secretary and Chief of Staff say the conditions are unacceptable. They've ordered an Inspector General investigation. The U.S. House just voting to limit U.S. involvement in Yemen's civil war, considered a rebuke of the Trump administration's alliance with Saudi Arabia, which has been criticized for civilian casualties in the fight against Iran-backed rebels. This is Fox News.
This is what Flo from Progressive sounds like in one of our many hilarious commercials.
Hi, did you know that you can get a quote on your motorcycle insurance in under 3 minutes at Progressive.com? And did you know that saying hi makes even bad news sound good? Hi, you have high cholesterol. Hi, you're fine.
And this is what that same commercial sounds like on your motorcycle.
Hi, there's no more tank.
Yeah, even our commercials sound better on a bike. And with basic policy starting at $75 a year, Progressive helps keep you on yours. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Annual premium for basic liability policy not available in all states.
Attention, everyone. I have a President's Day pro tip. You need to go to Dell.com/business deals right now because Dell's President's Day sale is live as we speak, and it's monumental. Get deals on Dell business computers with 8th Gen Intel Core processors and business tech, plus doorbusters up to 45% off. Call 877-BUY-DELL now to talk to Dell's small business technology advisors and get personalized help finding the best tech at President's Day prices. Free shipping included. Again, call 877-BUY-DELL.
Trump making his latest push for border security at a conference of police chiefs and county sheriffs.
I've come to deliver a very important message from the American people to you. Thank you.
As for the tentative deal to avoid another partial government shutdown, he says he's waiting for the fine print from Congress before making a final decision. The funding deadline is Friday. The president today also noting that tomorrow marks 1 year since 17 students and staff were killed in a shooting at a Florida high school.
We cannot imagine the sorrow and suffering the Parkland families have endured. Our entire nation mourns for the victims and their loved ones.
Pledging unwavering support to the effort to improve school security nationwide. Florida's new governor, Ron DeSantis, ordering a statewide grand jury probe of schools across the state.
To look into not only the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas incident, but how this school district here and other school districts have handled money for security, have handled all of these issues that impact the safety of our schools.
Made the announcement in Fort Lauderdale along with some parents and a survivor of the Parkland shooting. A scary problem leads to a new recall of some popular trucks.
Ford Motor Company is issuing a safety recall of 1.48 million 2011 to 2013 F-150 pickups with 6-speed automatic transmissions that could experience an intermittent loss of the transmission output speed sensor signal to the powertrain control module, potentially resulting in a temporary unintended downshift into first gear. even while the truck is in high speeds, increasing the risk of a crash.
Fox's Jeff Manasso. Ford says it is aware of 5 reports of accidents. Dealers will update the powertrain control module software in the affected trucks free of charge. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. The cause of a deadly house fire in central Iowa is under investigation, as Radio Iowa's Matt Kelly reports.
The house is located in Polk County between Ankeny and Des Moines. The sheriff's office says 911 calls about the fire were made shortly before 4:30 this morning. Authorities say they found the body of an adult inside the home, though no further information about the victim was released. Firefighters from Johnston, Ankeny, and 2 other departments responded to the blaze. The house was destroyed. Radio Iowa, I'm Matt Kelly.
Unity Point Health Trinity Regional Medical Center in Fort Dodge announced this week that the radiology department will now offer pet and cat services Monday through Friday. Previously, these services were available to patients 1 day a week. Unity Point Health said in a press release that the enhanced access not only provides convenience, but also improves patient care for timely clinical decisions. Governor Kim Reynolds will serve on a newly created American Workforce Advisory Board alongside Apple's CEO and Ivanka Trump. Radio Iowa's O.K. Henderson reports.
Secretary of Commerce Wilbur Ross will lead the 25-member group, which President Trump created by executive order. Trump is asking the board to come up with strategies to revamp the American workforce to meet 21st century challenges. The president's daughter, Ivanka Trump, says the goal is to help Americans navigate the economic disruptions new technology is creating. Iowa's governor and the governor of Indiana are the 2 state officials on the board, alongside the CEOs of Walmart, Home Depot, Visa, and IBM, as well as Apple's Tim Cook. Radio Iowa, I'm O.K. Henderson.
A report that ranks the states for their preparedness for public health emergencies places Iowa in the middle of the pack. Iowa scored 4 out of 10 for preparedness for diseases, disasters, and bioterrorism. John Auerbach, president and CEO of Trust for America's Health, says one category focuses on the immunization level for influenza, and Iowa ranked low.
That's a marker for how quickly the healthcare system could administer a vaccine in a major outbreak of a deadly epidemic. And less than half of the population that are recommended to get flu shots get them in Iowa.
The report, called Ready or Not, Protecting the Public's Health, also shows Iowa has room for improvement in terms of how well hospitals are prepared for halting the spread of harmful diseases or illnesses.
We looked at hospital quality safety measures, particularly with regard to controlling hospital-based infection transference or contagion within a hospital, and we found a lower percentage of the hospitals that met the national standards for protecting patients.
The report grouped the states into 3 performance categories. 17 states are in the upper tier, 20 in the middle tier, and 13 in the lower. According to Auerbach, I was in the middle tier in part because of issues with nitrates and other pollutants in the waterways. In local sports, Fort Dodge girls basketball travels to Sioux City West tonight for the opening round of the regional playoffs. Radio coverage is on 92.1 The Eagle starting at 7 p.m. St. Edmund girls basketball faces Appleton Parkersburg tonight in regional playoff action with radio coverage on Sunny 99.7 at 7 p.m. South Central Calhoun girls basketball takes on East Sac County at 7 p.m. on 105.9 The Beach. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Cloudy skies this afternoon with highs around 25. Southeasterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Overcast skies tonight, lows level off around 21. Tomorrow, highs level off around 29. High of 13 Friday under overcast skies. 17 Saturday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 24.
Hi, this is Stacy Weirda, broker owner of Neighborhood Realty. Are you thinking about selling your home but not sure who to list with? Well, I have an amazing team of agents with years of experience in 2 locations, all devoted to your real estate needs. Neighborhood Realty covers a vast market area, and that's not all. At Neighborhood Realty, we'll list it, we'll sell it, and you'll move on. Find our information online at neighborhood-realty.net and make sure to follow us on Facebook.
What if I told you there was a way to step into another gear for your brain and be much sharper, more focused, and improve your memory to a level that you could only dream about, and notice these results in 30 minutes? Hard to believe? Neuroscientists are calling this new brain discovery the biggest advancement in brain science to date. It's called Limitless, the brain pill of the future. Take it, and within 30 minutes, you'll transport your mind to a new level of focus and clarity you would have never thought possible.
I took Limitless and it started working in minutes. All of a sudden, it felt like a dark cloud had been lifted up right before my eyes. I have a mental clarity I've never felt before.
Biz execs, athletes, teachers, and students are calling Limitless a secret weapon for the brain. You have nothing to lose, so call now and find out how to get a free bottle today.
To find out how to get your free bottle of Limitless, call 800-681-9041. That's 800-681-9041. Free bottle for a limited time. Call now, 800-681-9041, 800-681-9041.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Listen to this.
Making radio great again.
You don't have bad luck. The reason that bad things happen to you is because you're a dumbass.
Michael Devine, the doctor of truth.
Does anyone have anything they'd like to confess?
At AM 1400 KVFD.
Okay, the good news is we're not going to talk about fireworks in this particular segment, AM 1400.
Why not?
Well, we can, I suppose. See, the city
shoot them.
This is a time of week we have somebody from the County Board of Supervisors in the studio, and Keith Denklaw, of course, is here, as you recognize his voice right away. But the City Council bravely wants to make the county the only place you can shoot fireworks.
It's all right. Bring them out. We'll
Bring them out. We'll blow them up. That's
yeah.
right. Also with us is Angie, the Webster County Assessor. Hi, Angie.
Hi.
What's going on?
Well, we're just kind of wanting to give an update on the reappraisal project that's going on.
I thought you came over to play cards with Keith and me, but
afterwards,
all right.
Yeah, so it's going really good. They're finishing up in Fort Dodge. They have just a handful of houses left to do.
This is the Vanguard people?
This is the Vanguard people. Yep, where they're knocking on doors, trying to get in, trying to see if we've done any improvements.
That
to
sounds
the
kind of
homes
creepy, Angie. I mean, just asking for entrance, something like that. Matter of fact, a Vanguard guy came around my house in the late summer, I believe.
Yep. They started in June.
And I begrudgingly let him in, but he was in and out pretty fast, actually.
Yeah. It takes them about 5-10 minutes, depending on the size of the house. They're in, they're out, they're counting rooms, looking for improvements. We really encourage people to let them in. We're just trying to make, our assessments equitable and fair, but they're good guys, and it is kind of creepy. I'm not going to say it's not, and that's why we've contacted the sheriff. We've contacted the local PD. We have it on our website, pictures of them, descriptions of their car, their license, and so it's all out there. We even had it in the paper. I know we've been on the radio 2 or 3 times, but they are finishing up in Fort Dodge. There's a couple of them out in the small towns already, so they're starting to do those. They're looking to wind the whole project up, the residential side of it anyway. Probably May or June. So from about a year when they started, they're going to finish it. So
the residential for the whole county?
Urban residential is what they're doing. And then that's inside the city limits only. So they've done like the Fort Dodge, and then they're going to do the small towns.
Gowrie, Badger, all those places.
Exactly. Yep. And then once they finish the residential project, then they're going to start the commercial, and the commercial will be countywide.
Well, pays particular attention to Dinklaw's house.
They got me already. He was in and out of my house for about 2 minutes.
Campbell's got a pretty nice place out there.
Oh yeah.
We better.
I let him in. He was nice. He was in and out of my house in a couple minutes.
Yep. I know it seems kind of invasive, but they're literally just doing a job, and they're not looking at what you have. They're just looking at your rooms and your finishes. So, but a really, really good group of guys.
Yeah, well, I don't have much besides a recliner and a big old TV, so
you're good.
I'm all right anyway.
You're good. Nothing to steal, huh?
Yeah, not really. No.
So these won't be done until.
Yep. What's going to happen is once they finish, these values will actually affect the 2020 valuations. So you're not going to see any change with what they're doing until then. However, 2019 is an equalization year. And I know we've kind of talked about that in the past too, where we send all of our sales into the state. And every odd year, depending on what homes are going for, the state can come in.
All the sales into the state. You're talking about property sales?
Correct. If I sell my home to you, that sale goes into the Department of Revenue, and they look at it, see if it's a good sale, bad sale.
How about farmland? Do you do the same thing with farmland?
No, farmland is assessed on productivity. So that's done a little bit differently. Other properties are market farmland is productivity.
All right.
So, but yeah, so we send the sales into the state, and then based on what commercial, residential, multi-residential properties are selling for, the state can say you're either too high, you're too low, or you're just right. If they say we're too high, they come in and they say everybody gets the same increase. If we do it in-house ourselves, we can control that. We can raise the neighborhoods that need raised. We can lower the ones that need lowered. And some of them might be right on and need to be just left alone. So for 2019, we are going to be looking at that to see if we need to raise, lower, stay the same. If we do make a change to your property, you will get an assessment roll on or before April 1st. If you get anything from the assessor's office, you need to open it. If you have questions, call us. So what's the number? The number is 576-4721.
Okay.
And there is a protest time. If you do get a friendly letter in the mail, the time to protest is April 2nd to April 30th, April 2nd through April 25th. You can come in, have a conversation with me. We can see if there's an error in your assessment or what we can do. If we can't reach an agreement, then you can file a formal protest with the Board of Review. That is a separate board from the assessor's office, and bring your concerns to them.
Now, what do they look for when they're checking out residences? I mean,
the Vanguard guys?
Yeah, the Vanguard guys.
Yep. What they're doing is they're measuring to make sure that all of our measurements are correct, which they've been very impressed that most of ours are, as they should be. They're also looking to see if you've done any updates to your home. Have you finished your attic? Have you finished your basement? Have you remodeled that kitchen or remodeled that bathroom? Or did you put new siding, new roof, new windows on the outside, but the inside might need a little TLC? So
all those things cost you more money? So if we let our homes fall into disrepair, we're doing okay.
You're good. You're good. You're good. Then you'll get a visit from someone else.
Just get
evicted from the city. That'd be the nuisance, right?
Yeah,
the nuisance.
That's kind of a catch-22. Well, I want to put on an extra room, but it'll cost me more for taxes. Or I want to have an extra bathroom or something. What do you do, Keith? Just live in a tent?
Fun ain't cheap.
Well, at least you're not a fun hater.
I'm not a fun hater.
That's
Fun's
the
not
city
cheap.
council. Those city council people are fun haters.
Oh, yeah. Well,
fun haters. The county board of supervisors.
Yeah.
they
So,
like to have fun.
so if you're going to go do a protest, you just can't go in there and say, hey, my taxes are too high. You need to have some verification.
Well, that's kind of where I'm going
Get
here.
some home sales in the area that you know of.
And the very first thing I'm going to tell you is don't come in and say my taxes are too high. I do not control taxes. I control assessments.
Those guys over there control the taxes.
Well, there's a lot of entities that control taxes. Yeah. You've got your school boards, you've got your county boards, you've got your city boards, you've got a lot of entities.
Everybody's got a levy.
Yep. Everybody's got their hand in the pie.
Can
and
the
they want a
school
piece
board
of it.
just attach a levy without voter approval or not?
Not to my knowledge. That'd probably be a question for the auditor.
Yeah.
That's above my pay
They have
grade.
their own levies, but yeah,
They have their own levies.
Yeah,
I know
yeah,
they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when
But I
they
don't know,
pass a bond issue, they got to raise the levy and
Right.
all that goes on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know a couple of the school board members. Those guys are warriors. So they do that work for no money.
They do a
at
good
all.
job
They
and
don't
no
get
money.
any
That's just,
no money.
No money. Just be on the
Stu
board.
Cochran's been over there.
Yes, he
I
does
got
a
to
great
take
job.
my hat off every time we talk school board. I got to say that Stu's been over there 20
Yes,
years.
does a
Never
great
got
job.
A dime.
Yeah, and does a lot of work
took all
over there.
kinds of,
and take a lot of grief.
And take a lot of grief.
And
yeah.
he wouldn't have had to take.
That's right. Anyway. Well, Angie, the Webster County Assessor, is here, and County Supervisor Keith Dinklage. We're talking the Vanguard people who are still running around and reassessing property. I assume that's what we're talking about, isn't it? Reassessing?
That is correct. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
When was the last time an assessment was done of our property?
The urban areas, it's been probably 20 years since we've actually physically been in the homes.
And the supervisors want more money, so you're sending Vanguard in to get it, or what?
Well, what they're doing cannot officially raise, again, we're going back to taxes, cannot officially raise taxes. So we're just looking to get our assessments equitable and fair. So if we get that tax base up, hopefully the levy rate will go down, and
that's all we got to do. Huh?
that's all we got to do.
So
it
we got to
sounds
get
easy,
some more
right?
people. We got to get some more people in here. Is that the idea?
Well, let's
talk to the council about
valuations
that.
did go up in the county. How much did they go up? You tell me.
Well, the wind turbines, of course, the wind turbines are a wonderful thing. We're adding about $19 million a year to the tax base with those. Also, I know the
really,
yeah,
that's a pile of money.
That's a pile of money, and the pipeline. I know that's centrally assessed, so I don't have my hand in that, but I know that added quite a bit of value to Webster County revenue as well.
Oh, that terrible pipeline! All those people with blue hair were screaming about a while ago. It's actually getting some money out of it.
A little bit, yeah. Right now, you can drive by, and if you had to go find it, you couldn't.
You couldn't.
No, I mean, you really couldn't. If you drove down that road and you asked a stranger where the pipeline is, they could not find it.
Yeah.
There's no way. So yeah, it's there, and nobody knows it's there.
Yeah, you'll probably never know it's there.
And then last week we talked about assessments on ag economy and ag assessments, and I said that some buildings don't pay any. That's not what I meant. I got called on.
Yeah, you got jumped on.
Yeah,
Peterson was in the next day.
Oh yeah, so I wanted to have Angie come in and explain the ag exemptions and the ag values and all that.
That's a good idea.
So, yeah, so,
Steve wanted.
Oh yeah, Steve.
He wanted to argue with you right away.
He called me right away. We got it out. I said, we'll have Angie come in and explain it. So,
okay.
So Angie can go over that.
He'll be in tomorrow, by the way. So you gotta watch it.
This is the professional here. This is the one that
he's probably listening.
Yeah. Oh yeah. This is the girl that knows.
All right. So ag exemption.
Well, so what we did is we did a building, say a $700,000 building in the rural area. If that building, $700,000 building, if that building is classified commercial, they get a commercial rollback. That's it. If you look at your tax statement,
Commercial property tax rollback.
Correct. If you look at your tax statement, you have an assessed value and then you have a lower taxable value. So a commercial building gets a commercial rollback and it's about 10%. So on that $700,000 building, now you're going to pay taxes on $630,000.
Okay.
Then I just took a levy rate out in the county. I think I looked at Lost Grove levy rate is basically $24 per thousand. So if you take that $630,000 times that $24 per thousand, you get about $15,000, a little over $15,000 a year in taxes.
So Lost Grove, that's done by Harcourt, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then, like I said, I just pulled a levy
the
rate.
levy rate from the building. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So now say that same $700,000 building is classified agricultural. Agricultural, because like we talked about earlier, it's not assessed at market value, it's assessed at productivity value. So what they do is right off the top is they give that ag building an ag factor. And that ag factor is the difference between the market value and the productivity value. So in Webster County, that $700,000 building, I can only assess 21% of that right off the top. So that brings that $700,000 building now down to $147,000.
So are these the hog confinement buildings or not?
Not any building.
It's any ag building.
Yeah, any ag building.
But in this specific case, I'm asking, I'm narrowing the question here. Are hog confinement buildings commercial buildings or ag buildings?
They are ag
They're
buildings
ag
because they are raising livestock.
Okay.
So a hog
So
confinement
what would be the tax rate on a $700,000?
Okay, so the first thing they get is that ag factor.
Right.
So that brings it down to the 147. Then they also get a rollback.
Now the ag factory brings it down. How much did you say?
Ag factor brings it down 79%. I'm only assessing 21% of that building.
Okay.
Then they also get a rollback on top of that. The ag rollback right now is about 55%. So now we're down to $80,085.
So we're taxing
taxable value.
$80,000 taxable value. Keith wasn't that far off. Then.
Yeah.
On a $700,000 building.
Yeah, on a $700,000 building.
So then if you take that 80,000 times the same levy rate that we did as a commercial classification, you're looking at about $1,900 a year in taxes.
$1,900 a year on a $700,000 building.
Yeah.
What would be a
it's quite a difference.
$700,000 commercial building in our county?
The commercial would be the 15,000 in taxes.
I mean, what can you give me an example of a $700,000 commercial building that's out in the county in Lost Grove?
Off the top of my head, no.
None.
But yeah.
I was going to say that it would be a rarity to have a commercial building
worth that
much money in
the
any
county.
Any part of our county.
Would grain bins apply to that?
Absolutely.
So if you had
grain bins would
if you had a big grain setup, that you could get a $500,000 tied up in a grain setup pretty fast.
Oh yeah.
So a grain building is a commercial building?
No, is an agricultural building.
Okay.
Ag exempt.
Well, depending on what you're using it for, like New Co-op has, huge grain bins, but of course they're commercial. But if it's being used for agricultural
and so New
purposes,
Co-op is commercial, but a private farmer isn't?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Sometimes I don't know why we just don't go out in the field and do the work for them and give them the check at the end of the year.
That's a whole nother program. We'll need longer than a half an hour for that.
This is something we talk about at Saturday Morning Breakfast. Keith and I go out.
So, these ag exemptions do add up a lot.
Oh, they do.
Oh, they do.
They add up a lot.
We got a truck driver buddy out there, an accountant buddy, and Keith's, of course, a farmer, and we're always going back and forth with farmers.
Hey, I love farmers. Like I told
Yes,
Keith, I like bacon.
and some of them need to be there. Some of those ag exemptions
Absolutely.
absolutely need to be there. I'm not. There's no question.
I mean, without a farmer, hey.
Yep, you'll go
I
hungry.
understand that, but I kind of miss farmer jokes. There were some great ones. They were brutal.
So yeah.
You know who had the best farmer jokes? Go to the co-op and ask for the manager.
Oh, I bet.
There you go.
Yep,
Quit busting on the farmers.
See, there
Don't
we go.
talk with your mouth full.
There we go.
Don't bust on them with your mouth full.
Well, as long as all right.
Yeah, let it go.
Okay, let it go now. So
All right.
I'm sorry.
So yeah, so those exemptions do
Add up a
exist,
lot.
but yeah,
Big difference.
some of them are worth it.
For a rebuttal, Steve Peterson, the Farm Bureau, will be here tomorrow, 3 o'clock.
and as who would say, and that's the truth.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Right there. That's from the horse's mouth right there.
Yep.
The girl that does the assessments.
Oh yeah. Well,
I mean, it's the code of Iowa.
It's the code of Iowa. Yep.
Yeah.
So
we're just following the law.
I understand. Oh well.
Yeah.
It's you know, as I say, this
But that gives you kind of an example, anyway.
it's kind of an ongoing thing. We got a couple of farmers in our group, actually 3 of them, if you want to. Yeah,
one
it's-
retired one.
One retired
and one tired one.
That would be Keith.
That'd be
And you know, it's always whose occupation's getting dinged the worst. And
Otherwise, in the county, there's really not much going on. We got the budgets all done, and we're gonna
got the budgets done.
Budget's done. We had a couple of people come back in. We had to deal with a little bit more with some labor stuff. And
is that Carlson boy? Is he still on the board?
Oh, yeah.
Thank God, you never know
Nick's
about
in
me.
there
would
every
you?
day. Nick was in there the last 3 days in a
Nick
row.
was
We
in
had
there 3 days in a row.
Drainage hearing yesterday morning at 9:15. He was there for that. Everybody's there for that.
I must have to go to a fire to talk to him.
If you want to talk to Nick, you don't have him come to your house because we're coming to pick you up off.
Yeah,
the
that
floor or
would
something.
never be good.
Yeah, you don't want to have Nick come to your house.
I don't want to do that.
No, just have him come here.
There was over here at Community Health, they had at Hy-Vee on Sunday. I was out there, and they had an ambulance out to Hy-Vee. Came to work Monday, and there was an ambulance over here at Community Health.
Whoa, yeah.
So the fire department was kind of busy the last couple of days, but I didn't see anybody there today or yesterday. So
I think we might have to have Nikki come in and explain. I think Hazmat just bought a new truck ordered a new
Hazmat bought a new truck.
Yeah.
How much are those suckers?
$750,000.
That's what I'm going to say.
All
a
decked
lot
out.
of money.
Yep. But ours is 30 years old or 25 years old.
Is it that old?
Yep. It's older. So.
Well, I think Randy Will was saying something about aging equipment, wasn't
Yeah.
he? At a supervisor meeting a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, well, we've been keeping our equipment in the county up to date pretty good. We usually buy 2 to 3 snowplow trucks a year, and this
That
year,
many, really?
Oh yeah, we buy 2
What's
or
the
3.
snowplow truck run?
300,000.
Do they come fitted with the plow?
Nope, you got to buy the truck, and then you buy the
Yeah.
buy the accessories from
Right.
Shortline people.
Right. Is there anybody that does that in town?
Yeah,
I mean, does Brian do that?
Brian
out
does
there?
that. Forsyth, yeah. What's that?
Highway truck.
Highway truck.
truck
Yep,
equipment,
they do
yeah.
all of our stuff. He does a great job.
I know he sells plows. I didn't
Yep,
know.
nope, he puts them on for us.
Yeah.
He does all of our plow work, puts them
Oh,
on.
glad to hear it.
And then we're buying Mack trucks from Reese, so we're trying to do everything local.
We got it, don't
which is
you?
good.
You got it. I mean, what kind of deal would that be? What are you going to do? Go down to Polk County and buy Webster County equipment?
Well, you could.
I mean,
but
did they
we-
come up here?
No, we try to buy it
Hell
local.
no, they don't come
No,
up
we
here.
try to buy it local. Then we need something done. It's right here. If we break down, you don't have to drive it 100 miles to get it fixed. It's right here.
Several
which is
years
really
ago, the
good.
city council was going to buy a police car from a Ford dealer in Ankeny or something.
Yeah, we usually just get, when we buy that stuff, we get the three bids from here, and not that many companies make police cars anymore.
Yeah.
The Crown Victoria from Ford used to be the hot one, and then they quit making those, and then the Dodge Charger. Everybody wants a Dodge Charger, and now they're going with the SUVs.
Are they going with the SUVs?
Well,
more and more?
oh yeah, look, City Cop. They all have them little SUVs now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, they do.
yeah.
Some of those are Fords, and
Yeah, and Chevy's got one. GM, I suppose.
Sure.
Dodge is going to have one too. So we have a few in the county too.
that all works.
Yep,
all
that
right.
all works.
Angie, are we missing anything else here?
I think we're good.
No,
I think we're good. Okay.
Yeah, thanks for coming, Angie.
You bet.
Our guests,
Appreciate it.
our guests have been from Webster County, Keith Dinkla and Angie, of course, and Father Patrick Babe is next.
Michael Devine at AM 1400
In the name of justice and the American way of life.
with 60 rounds of freedom.
Sylvester, can you hear me? There's a whole fortune in cash, and you can get it before anybody gets it. But you've got to hurry. Do you hear?
Hey, what's the matter, Mama? Now, what's going on there? Are you all right?
Of course I'm all right. Sylvester!
Hey, Russell Emmeline with you?
Sylvester, forget about Russell. Will you just shut up and let me talk?
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Listen to this.
Making radio great again.
It's 4:30. Father Patrick Bain is next.
Take the worry out of winter with a winter weather advisor on KVFD, brought to you by Community Health Center Fort Dodge, offering dental, behavioral health, and general medical assistance for men, women, and children. They're committed to your well-being. Community Health Center. Get to know them. And Creative Cakes, making life sweet with espresso, lunch, gourmet cupcakes, and other sweet treats. Creative Cakes in the Crossroads Mall, Fort Dodge. They make life sweet. Listen for the winter weather advisor on the Voice of Fort Dodge, AM 1400 KVFD.
Mom, I'm running to the store. Be right back.
All right, who's ready to hit the road?
Hey, Jack, I'm headed out to go pick up Grandma. Be ready by the time I get back.
It doesn't matter whether it's a quick trip or a long one. Buckling up is the single most effective thing you can do to protect yourself in a crash. And while airbags are great, they're designed to work with seatbelts, not replace them. So buckle up every trip, every time. This message from the Iowa Department of Public Safety, Governor's Traffic Safety Bureau.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. The cause of a deadly house fire in central Iowa is under investigation, as Radio Iowa's Matt Kelly reports.
The house is located in Polk County between Ankeny and Des Moines. The sheriff's office says 911 calls about the fire were made shortly before 4:30 this morning. Authorities say they found the body of an adult inside the home, though no further information about the victim was released. Firefighters from Johnston, Ankeny, and 2 other departments responded to the blaze. The house was destroyed. Radio Iowa, I'm Matt Kelly.
Unity Point Health Trinity Regional Medical Center in Fort Dodge announced this week that the radiology department will now offer pet and cat services Monday through Friday. Previously, these services were available to patients 1 day a week. Unity Point Health said in a press release that the enhanced access not only provides convenience, but also improves patient care for timely clinical decisions. Governor Kim Reynolds will serve on a newly created American Workforce Advisory Board alongside Apple's CEO and Ivanka Trump. Radio Iowa's OK Henderson reports.
Secretary of Commerce Wilbur Ross will lead the 25-member group, which President Trump created by executive order. Trump is asking the board to come up with strategies to revamp the American workforce to meet 21st century challenges. The president's daughter, Ivanka Trump, says the goal is to help Americans navigate the economic disruptions new technology is creating. Iowa's governor and the governor of Indiana are the 2 state officials on the board, alongside the CEOs of Walmart, Home Depot, Visa, and IBM, as well as Apple's Tim Cook. Radio Iowa, I'm OK Henderson.
A report that ranks the states for their preparedness for public health emergencies places Iowa in the middle of the pack. Iowa scored 4 out of 10 for preparedness for diseases, disasters, and bioterrorism. John Auerbach, president and CEO of Trust for America's Health, says one category focuses on the immunization level for influenza, and Iowa ranked low.
That's a marker for how quickly the healthcare system could administer a vaccine in a major outbreak of a deadly epidemic. And less than half of the population that are recommended to get flu shots get them in Iowa.
The report, called Ready or Not, Protecting the Public's Health, also shows Iowa has room for improvement in terms of how well hospitals are prepared for halting the spread of harmful diseases or illnesses.
We looked at hospital quality safety measures, particularly with regard to controlling hospital-based infection transference or contagion within a hospital. And we found a lower percentage of the hospitals that met the national standards for protecting patients.
The report grouped the states into 3 performance categories. 17 states are in the upper tier, 20 in the middle tier, and 13 in the lower. According to Auerbach, I was in the middle tier in part because of issues with nitrates and other pollutants in the waterways. In local sports, Fort Dodge girls basketball travels to Sioux City West tonight for the opening round of the regional playoffs. Radio coverage is on 92.1 The Eagle starting at 7 p.m. St. Edmund girls basketball faces Appleton Parkersburg tonight in regional playoff action with radio coverage on Sunny 99.7 at 7 p.m. South Central Calhoun girls basketball takes on East Sac County at 7 p.m. on 105.9 The Beach. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. Have a great day.
Here's the AM 1400 KVFD weatherology forecast. Cloudy skies this afternoon with highs around 25. Southeasterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Overcast skies tonight, lows level off around 21. Tomorrow, highs level off around 29. High of 13 Friday under overcast skies. 17 Saturday. From the Weatherology Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Currently, it's 22.
Here's a look at how the markets closed today. March corn up a half a cent at 3.78 3/4. May up a half a penny at 3.86 3/4. July up 3/4 at 3.94 1/2, and December corn up a half a penny at 4.02 1/2. March soybeans down a penny at 9.16 1/2. May down a penny at 9.30 3/4. July down 1 1/4 at 9.43 3/4, and November down 1 1/4 at 9.58 3/4. March wheat up 2 1/4 at 5.22 1/4. Soybean meal up 90 cents a ton at 3.10 February live cattle down 87 cents at 125.95. April down 90 at 126.97. March feeder cattle down 87 cents at 143.52. April down 57 at 146.07. February lean hogs down 2 at 55.15. April down 55 at 59.77. I'm Dwayne Murley.
From the Fox Business Network, more job seekers are playing Let's Make a Deal. 55% of professionals tell the staffing firm Robert Half that they asked for a higher salary with their last job offer. That is up 16% from last year, and the bargaining might be worth it. Around 60% of bosses say they are open to negotiating compensation. Hopefully, workers will start saving more, whether they got better pay or not. That is because around 3 in 10 Americans tell Bankrate they have more credit card debt than emergency savings. Another up day on Wall Street with stocks rising on hopes that we will avoid another government shutdown and strike a trade deal with China. Ford recalling a bunch of vehicles. First up, a transmission problem could cause gears to shift without warning on around 1.5 million F-150 pickup trucks from the years 2011 to 2013. A potential problem with door latches on certain 2017 to 2019 Lincoln Continental vehicles. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Connell McShane.
How can a fully stocked restroom improve your image? How can serviced fire extinguishers or a first aid cabinet make your employees more prepared? How can comfortable work apparel make your business more productive? For over 1 million customers, the answer is simple. Cintas. Cintas delivers everything you need to open your doors with confidence. Because helping keep businesses well-equipped, clean, and looking their best, that's our business. Oh, I'm ready! Get Cintas and get ready for the workday.
Funeral Home and Cremation Services.
Oh, why not just cremate me when I'm gone?
Sounds simple, doesn't it? However, there are many options to consider when cremation is chosen. From simple to detailed, we at Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services can help you create a unique commemoration.
Gunderson Funeral Home and Cremation Services.
Around here, life is a continuous circle. We have friend circles, business circles, great work, and occasionally circles under our eyes. At our best, we have a circle of caring people around us. That's the power of Mercy One, a healthcare support network 20,000 strong, personalizing your care by keeping you at the center of everything we do. Mercy One, your best life, our one purpose.
Mom, I'm running to the store. Be right back.
All right, who's ready to hit the road?
Hey, Jack, I'm headed out to go pick up Grandma. Be ready by the time I get back.
It doesn't matter whether it's a quick trip or a long one. Buckling up is the single most effective thing you can do to protect yourself in a crash. And while airbags are great, they're designed to work with seatbelts, not replace them. So buckle up every trip, every time. This message from the Iowa Department of Public Safety, Governor's Traffic Safety Bureau.
Ride the bus with the Dart and Midas Transit.
Need to get somewhere in Hamilton, Pocahontas, Calhoun, or Humboldt County this winter? Midas will take you there. Live in Manson and need a ride to the grocery store? Midas will take you there. Live in Webster City and need a ride to the theater? Midas will take you there. Live in Rockwell City and need to get to the clinic? Midas will take you there. Call 800 Bus Ride. Midas, helping you get where you want to go. Your connection to Jefferson Lines.
Our job here's getting you there. Ride the bus.
Michael Devine at AM 1400.
In the name of justice and the American way of life.
With 60 rounds of freedom.
To be honest with you guys, I'm happy to be out of the house after the 18 hours of Facebookery this afternoon.
Michael Devine at AM 1400 KVFD.
Listen to this.
Making radio great again.
That's what we're doing. We're making radio great again. Assisting me in that effort today is Father Patrick Boehm of the Holy Trinity Parish. Good afternoon, Father.
Good afternoon. I'm certainly going to try do the best I can.
No. I think your segment is one of the more listened to segments of the week, so that's always good. You and the mayor, I think, are
praise God.
Praise God is correct.
I actually ran into the mayor the other day.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, we happened to both be out for dinner at the same local establishment.
Yeah,
so.
he's a good guy, isn't he?
Very good.
Very sharp guy.
Yep.
Where did you go to eat?
That particular night it happened to be Old Boston.
Old Boston. Okay. All right. Well, that's been a standby since the early 80s, I think. It started out as Marvin Gardens, but it's then they had a major overhaul some years ago.
Marvin Gardens, really?
It was Marvin Gardens, yeah.
Gosh, isn't that a yellow property in Monopoly?
Well, it was kind of a cool thing back in the early 80s.
Okay.
To go there. It was
cool.
It was kind of nice. But yeah, that was a long time ago. It's been Old Boston for, I don't know how many years now. I really don't. Anyway, Father Boehm, you have taken a vow of celibacy.
Yes, I have. That's right.
That continues to blow my mind after all these years. I cannot for the life of me understand why God would require celibacy of priests or nuns, frankly.
Sure.
And when I was a young man, frankly, and it was explained to me, actually, when I was a child, I didn't know what the hell it meant. But my mother was always pushing me toward the priesthood. And she was saying, all you have to do is be celibate. And I had no idea what that was.
Yeah, what is that? Exactly.
But once I got older, it didn't sound like it was any fun. Now, you're a perfectly normal man. And
wow. Depends on who you ask.
No, you're a perfectly normal man.
Yes, sir.
And I imagine most priests are. Every now and then, we have had, unfortunately, and you and I have talked about it, and you've spoken quite passionately about it.
Indeed.
We've had scandals involving priests molesting or being involved with women where celibacy wasn't on the table.
Right.
And every time I hear something like that, I wonder if letting priests be married wouldn't alleviate some of those concerns. Alleviate that problem, because we seem to be demanding quite a bit of priests when we ask for celibacy, or the church asks for celibacy. I would allow you guys to get married or do whatever it is you want. Why? And now you were certainly your hometown was Storm Lake. You didn't grow up any differently than most young people in Iowa.
No.
In our state. But you were one of the few, I bet, who took a vow of celibacy and became a priest.
Yeah.
And I would venture that is something that keeps a lot of young men away from the priesthood.
Oh, I have no doubt. I think that it absolutely does. I'm glad we get to talk about this today, because as you might expect, I have a lot to say about the topic of celibacy.
The time is yours.
Yeah, well, very good. So here we go. First of all, I want to make it very clear that I believe celibacy is a very good thing. And I think celibacy is something that, first of all, frees us as ministers of the gospel to do the work of the gospel. So let me give you an example. I'm going through a program right now with a number of men from our parish called Exodus 90. And basically what this is there's about 10 of us, and we are trying to fast together. And so we're not snacking between meals. We give up alcohol for those 90 days. What else? We try and give up sweets and soda, anything like that. Try and pray for an hour every day.
Diabetes did that for me, by the way.
Well, I'm trying to, believe me, I have a bad sweet tooth. And so I am trying to give up all that stuff so I can avoid diabetes. But we exercise every day. We try and pray together. Well, I've been getting up at 4 a.m. every day for the last basically 24 days since we started this. And I just mentioned, as soon as I get off the air, I have to run out and take care of someone at the Paula J. Baber Hospice House. Then I have a finance council meeting. And then I have a couple coming in for a marriage prep. I'm not going to get home until about 7. So I go from 4 a.m. until 7 p.m. And that's pretty consistent. Sometimes it's later. It just kind of depends on what we have going on.
But let's go back to where we started. And I don't mean to interrupt you, because I want you to expound and enlarge on this topic as much as you want. But you wouldn't have to do that if we had more priests. And if we didn't have celibacy, we might have more priests.
Well,
I think I'm fairly on solid ground when I say that if priests could get married, a lot more young men would become priests.
All right. Basically, I will get to that. What I'm trying to illustrate by pointing out all these things in our schedule is not to, have anybody feel sorry for us, because I don't think I'm any busier than anybody else, but it's a very full life. And it would be really hard for me to be committed to the church and to a wife. I just think that would be really hard for me to do. So that's the first thing, kind of on a practical level. But let me just talk about what you said, because I hear this a lot, that, well, if we do away with celibacy, we'd have more priests. They do have ministerial shortages in the Protestant communities that do not have a practice of celibacy. And so there's a shortage all around. It's commonly misunderstood. We actually do have married priests in the Catholic Church. A lot of people don't realize that, but there are priests who are married in the Catholic Church. They tend to be in the Christian East. So we typically would call them the Eastern Catholic churches. The Byzantine Rite would be probably the most prominent, and they would be primarily located in Central and Eastern Europe and kind of the Middle East, that part of the world. They have always had a tradition of having a married priesthood, and so it is possible. We have married priests. The reason I favor celibacy, however, is what I'm going to call an eschatological sign. Okay, so let's kind of break this down, because that's a big word. Eschatology is the branch of theology that studies the last things. So in Catholic thought, we might call them the four last things: death, judgment, heaven, and hell. And so as one of my esteemed professors used to say, there are two certainties, death and judgment, two possibilities, heaven and hell. And where you go is entirely up to you, but I recommend heaven. Celibacy has a sign in that, meaning it points to something that is to come, because our Lord Jesus in the gospel says, when the Pharisees pressure him, our Lord Jesus says, look, in heaven there is no marriage. People don't realize that, and it can be kind of hard to preach on that, because people are like, well, you mean I'm not going to be married to my spouse in heaven? Well, no, actually you're not, at least not if we follow the words of Jesus. Jesus is very clear about that. But here's the thing. In heaven, we will know the ones that we have lived with here on earth in a deeper, richer, and fuller way, in a way way beyond anything we could ever possibly imagine in this life. But the overall point as it relates to celibacy is that we will not, in fact, be married in heaven. And so celibacy in this life is meant to point us to that reality. And so I oftentimes, if your people watching on YouTube can see my collar, I realize our listeners can't see it, but I take my finger and I kind of point at my collar here. I tell people, jokingly, but very, very seriously, actually, that my collar is in fact my wedding band. And, the day that I was ordained and began wearing my collar, I think of this as my wedding band.
Is that the church's position, by the way?
Maybe figuratively. I don't know that you would ever find that written down anywhere.
Because the nuns that taught me years and years ago wore black,
right?
A black veil and a medieval wedding dress.
Yep.
And their position was that they were married to Christ.
Right. Yeah, there's always been an understanding that those who are consecrated, especially consecrated women, are mystically married to Jesus Christ, that they become his bride. And so there's a sign there that we are not made for this world. And so I oftentimes like to explain to people that the gift of marriage reminds me that I am spoken for. I am claimed. And who has spoken for me is, in fact, Holy Mother Church. And so I am claimed by the church. The priesthood is not my job. Okay. I don't wake up in the morning and go to work in the sense of I'm going to go be a priest for the day and then come home and maybe next year I'll think about doing something else with my life. It doesn't work that way. In the Catholic understanding, when you are ordained as a priest of Jesus Christ or make your vows as a consecrated religious, that's tantamount to getting married. And to leave that is tantamount to divorce. And so the priesthood is not just what I do, it's who I am, it's my life. And
right.
So inherent within that is the fact that being perfectly, or at least as perfectly as we can in this life, tied to Christ it eliminates, in a certain sense, the possibility of being tied to another. And tied, we oftentimes think of that as having a negative connotation, like, oh, we're chained to somebody, like we're enslaved. But no, tied in the sense of a husband and wife are tied, bound to each other in marriage.
And a husband and wife, and I must interrupt.
Sure, go ahead.
Sorry. A husband and wife, of course, are not celibate.
No.
Is there an implication that those who aren't celibate, husband and wife, are not as close to God as you are?
Oh gosh, that's a tough question. And it's tough because the answer is yes and no. And so
that is an unusual answer.
I always want to clarify this because there's an objective answer and there's a subjective answer. And so the objective answer is that celibacy is in fact a higher calling. And so the church, the Catholic Church, has been very clear in this teaching. The most recent document that I can think of is a document from the Second Vatican Council called Optatum Totius, which does say very explicitly that celibacy is a higher calling. And in fact, those who are called to the religious life, meaning the Benedictines, the Franciscans, the Dominicans, the Carthusians, whatever, their calling is higher than mine as a secular priest, as a diocesan priest. Now, that's in the objective sphere. In the subjective sphere, the highest calling is what we are called to, because that's God's plan for your life subjectively. And so, does that mean that someone who is called to marriage has a lower dignity or a lower vocation than me, who is called to celibacy? No, absolutely not. Of course not. The call to celibacy is a higher calling because it more perfectly imitates the person of Jesus Christ, who of course was celibate. And so, I mean, Dan Brown notwithstanding, who thought that Jesus was married to Mary Magdalene, that is not the case. But nevertheless, celibacy is in fact a higher calling because it's more perfectly configured to the person of Jesus Christ. And so my brothers and sisters who have the beautiful vocation of marriage, it doesn't mean that though it's and I don't really even like the terminology, the language, though it's a lower calling, it doesn't mean that it is inferior, because the best call to them, what is to them, is to respond to God's call in their life, whatever that may be.
It sounds like you're splitting a little bit of a hair.
Well, you can. It is kind of a splitting of hairs, but it's viewing this question in two different realms: one objectively, two subjectively. And so in the objective realm, yes, celibacy and the religious life are higher callings. Mm-hmm. Subjectively, they are not. Subjectively, what your calling is the highest calling. So I hope that makes sense. I talk about Christopher West on here all the time, and his...
Yes, I've looked him up on YouTube.
Yeah. Good. His stuff on the Pope's theology of the body, it's really quite good. I want to say one more thing about celibacy. There's a lot of things that run through my mind here, and I just want to address... because, you brought it up, Mike, and a lot of people have brought this up, that, well, if we just allow priests to get married, maybe they wouldn't be abusers, right? Well, first of all, I think it's good to keep some perspective, right? The rate of priests who were sexual abusers is actually lower than the rate throughout society. It gets magnified because of their calling, and because, again, it's a higher calling, and people understand that. And so they should be held, I shouldn't say they, because I'm a priest, we should be held to a higher standard. Mm-hmm. That being said, I want to address this idea that if we just allow priests to get married, that would kind of fall by the wayside, because that's not true, right? We see people who abuse children, who sexually abuse children, that are married. I mean,
yes,
watch Dateline NBC's To Catch a Predator. I mean, you got people from all walks of life on that TV show.
Boy, I don't get that, and I never...
No, I mean, I think it's good what they do, the undercover stings to arrest these people. I think it's fantastic. But, I mean, you see they come from all walks of life. Mm-hmm. That being said, the reason I think this analogy is problematic is because I want to look at it from the perspective of marriage, right? Essentially what you're saying is, excuse me, that marriage is nothing more than legitimate sexual release or something to that effect. And that's just not true. I mean, people who really embrace marriage, who see it as a mutual sacrifice, husband for wife, wife for husband, they don't see each other as just kind of their only licit outlet, so to speak. They see the other person, their spouse, as they should, as a life partner and someone to lead them to heaven. And so were I to get married, it would be, I'm sorry, I just quite degrading to that woman to say, well, I can't control myself around children, and so I need to marry you so that way I can, have my fun in a non-sinful way and then not go abuse children. I just don't think it works that way.
Well, let me add this, though. That would be some sort of base sexual urge.
Sure. No. And I know you're not saying that.
No.
But I've heard other people that have, and I do want to address that.
But I can tell you from personal experience that a intimate relationship, yes, a sexual relationship with a woman, is an extremely spiritual experience for the most part.
I have no doubt.
Do you feel you've missed something by not being?
No. John Paul II said the same thing. Actually, I love quoting John Paul II. In fact, he actually called the sexual union of husband and wife an act of prayer, an act of worship.
I would agree.
And I would too. Do I feel like I've missed out? Well, my my gut reaction was to say no, but I'm actually going to change that. I'm going to say yes. And that's precisely the point. If you think about it, we don't give up things. We don't sacrifice things that are not good, right? So the example I always use, I hate tomatoes. I hate tomatoes. I can't stand the taste of tomatoes. I don't know what it is. I don't even like tomato sauce. When I get pasta, I get white sauce. If I can get pizza without tomato sauce, I do. I don't know what it is. I just cannot stand the taste of tomatoes. Well, for me, when Lent rolls around in 3 weeks or whatever it is, there would be absolutely no merit in me saying, I'm going to give up tomatoes for Lent, right? Because I don't eat tomatoes anyway. I don't like them. There's merit in me saying, I'm going to give up ice cream for Lent. Because if I could, I would eat ice cream 4 or 5 times every day and probably get sick, but I'd enjoy it because I like ice cream, which was problematic when I was living in Lamar's, where Wells Blue Bunny is at. But in any event, we don't give up things that are wrong and bad and gain merit from them. We give up things that are good. And so do I feel a certain deprivation of giving up sexual intimacy? Yes, absolutely. I'd be lying if I said that I didn't. However, Jesus Christ desires to fill that ache in the heart. And what I have learned and what celibacy reminds us, and this kind of goes back to my original point, what celibacy reminds us of is this, that at the end of the day, no one can satisfy the longing of our heart. Not a spouse, not a brand new Ferrari, not new golf clubs, not a nice house on the beach, whatever it is you want, that new job, 50-yard line ticket to the Super Bowl, whatever it is you want. Nothing can satisfy the longing of our heart except for Jesus Christ. And that's the message that is conveyed by celibacy. That when I wear my collar in public and people know that I have given up wife and family and sexual intimacy, it's meant to be a sign to say there is something greater beyond this world.
As much as I hate to, we're going to have to quit.
Right? No, that's all right. We'll
talk more about that the next time.
It's a good conversation.
Father Patrick Boehm has been our guest. This is AM 1400 KVFD, the voice of Fort Dodge.
First State Bank. First for you.
Get cozy with a money market account from First State Bank. With the Investor's Choice Money Market account, you earn more interest than with a regular savings account, and you still have access to your money. Not only that, our rates are among the best around. Learn about this product and more by visiting our website, fsbwc.com. First State Bank, first for you. Member FDIC.
First State Bank, first for you.
The Iowa Outdoor Store presents its 3rd annual Jerk Off, the Deer and Wild Game Jerky and Sausage Contest, Saturday, February 23rd. If you've got making jerky down to a science, be there to compete for prizes in 3 categories. Just want to eat? Then be there from 1 till 3 for free samples of some of the best jerky and sausage around. Bring your friends and vote for your favorites at the 3rd annual Jerk Off, Saturday, February 23rd at the Iowa Outdoor Store at the junction of Highways 169 and 7, Fort Dodge.
Ever wonder why Europeans seem to speak so many languages? Maybe it's because they use Babbel, the #1 selling language learning app in Europe. Babbel's award-winning technology gets you speaking right away, whether you're learning Spanish, French, or German. And best of all, you'll remember what you've learned.
I always thought I was bad at languages, but after using Babbel, I can tell you I was just taught the wrong way.
Using Babbel's 10 to 15-minute lessons, you can be speaking confidently in your new language within weeks.
I was amazed that I could start having real-life conversations right away. It was so fast. Now I'm speaking Spanish. Woohoo!
No wonder Babbel is the #1 selling language learning app in Europe. Try it for yourself and see why Babbel is the quick way to get conversational in a new language, like Spanish, French, or more. You can try Babbel for free. Go to Babbel.com or download the app and try it for free. That's Babbel, Babbel.com, or download the app to try it for free. That's Babbel.com.
You are listening to AM 1400 KVFD, KVFD in Fort Dodge, Iowa, 5 o'clock.
In the final stretch, I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. The House and Senate could take up the spending bill tomorrow that would avoid a government shutdown, but the measure provides far less funding for the border wall than President Trump had asked for. As the president says, the border wall is being built.
And it's a big wall. It's a strong wall. It's a wall that people aren't going through very easy. They're going to have to be in extremely good shape to get over this one. They would be able to climb Mount Everest a lot easier, I think.
If no deal is reached by midnight Friday, the government could shut down. A new Fox poll looks at how concerned people are with border security. Fox's Gernal Scott has this live.
Police favor for building a border wall is slightly up to 46% from 43% a month ago. A vast majority of those who responded, 66%, say any border security deal must fund not only a barrier, but other security measures as well as humanitarian aid. If the president is still considering declaring a national emergency to get wall funding, many who took part in this poll are not with him. 56% oppose such a move. And while 63% consider the border wall a major problem, it's not most of concern. Almost 9 of every 10 respondents say opioid addiction is America's biggest problem, Lisa.
Grinnell FEMA Administrator Brock Long stepping down after nearly 2 years at his post.
An Inspector General's report released late last year found that Long used government vehicles and staff on 40 trips for personal reasons, including during a family vacation in Hawaii, despite official warnings the practice was unauthorized.
Fox's John Decker at the White House. Wall Street at the close, stocks extending their gains as investors remain optimistic that the U.S. and China will make more progress in resolving the trade dispute. The Dow added 117, the NASDAQ edged up 5. This is Fox News.
Ah, the copperhead snake. It hisses before attacking. But that's not a copperhead. That's the Sullivan's RV freshwater tank overflowing into their black one, which is backing into their vent pipe, making for a very different kind of attack. One that arrives just in time for taco night. It's wild out there. When it gets too wild, Progressive has your RV covered. Quote today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Attention, everyone. I have a President's Day pro tip. You need to go to Dell.com/business deals right now because Dell's President's Day sale is live as we speak, and it's monumental. Get deals on Dell business computers with 8th Gen Intel Core processors and business tech, plus doorbusters up to 45% off. Call 877-BUY-DELL now to talk to Dell's small business technology advisors and get personalized help finding the best tech at President's Day prices. Free shipping included. Again, call 877-BUY-DELL.
Your news, your town, your station. KVFD News when it breaks.
Good afternoon. I'm Alex Benzagal with the KVFD Afternoon News. The cause of a deadly house fire in Central Iowa is under investigation, as Radio Iowa's Matt Kelly reports.
The house is located in Polk County between Ankeny and Des Moines. The sheriff's office says 911 calls about the fire were made shortly before 4:30 this morning. Authorities say they found the body of an adult inside the home, though no further information about the victim was released. Firefighters from Johnston, Ankeny, and 2 other departments responded to the blaze. The house was destroyed. Radio Iowa, I'm Matt Kelly.
Unity Point Health Trinity Regional Medical Center in Fort Dodge announced this week that the radiology department will now offer pet and cat services Monday through Friday. Previously, these services were available to patients 1 day a week. Unity Point Health said in a press release that the enhanced access not only provides convenience, but also improves patient care for timely clinical decisions. Governor Kim Reynolds will serve on a newly created American Workforce Advisory Board alongside Apple's CEO and Ivanka Trump. Radio Iowa's OK Henderson reports.
Secretary of Commerce Wilbur Ross will lead the 25-member group, which President Trump created by executive order. Trump is asking the board to come up with strategies to revamp the American workforce to meet 21st century challenges. The president's daughter, Ivanka Trump, says the goal is to help Americans navigate the economic disruptions new technology is creating. Iowa's governor and the governor of Indiana are the two state officials on the board, alongside the CEOs of Walmart, Home Depot, Visa, and IBM, as well as Apple's Tim Cook. Radio Iowa, I'm OK Henderson.
A report that ranks the states for their preparedness for public health emergencies places Iowa in the middle of the pack. Iowa scored 4 out of 10 for preparedness for diseases, disasters, and bioterrorism. John Auerbach, president and CEO of Trust for America's Health, says one category focuses on the immunization level for influenza, and Iowa ranked low.
That's a marker for how quickly the healthcare system could administer a vaccine in a major outbreak of a deadly epidemic. And less than half of the population that are recommended to get flu shots get them in Iowa.
The report, called Ready or Not, Protecting the Public's Health, also shows Iowa has room for improvement in terms of how well hospitals are prepared for halting the spread of harmful diseases or illnesses.
We looked at hospital quality safety measures, particularly with regard to controlling hospital-based infection transference or contagion within a hospital, and we found a lower percentage of the hospitals that met the national standards for protecting patients.
The report grouped the states into 3 performance categories. 17 states are in the upper tier, 20 in the middle tier, and 13 in the lower. According to Auerbach, I was in the middle tier in part because of issues with nitrates and other.
Live from the headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, broadcasting from the Dollar Car Rental Studio, it's the Dave Ramsey Show, where debt is dumb, cash is king, and the paid-off home mortgage has taken the place of the BMW as the status symbol of choice. I am Dave Ramsey, your host. This is your show. Thank you for joining us. Open phones at 888-825-5225. That's 888-825-5225. Nathan is starting off this hour in Fort Worth, Texas. Hi, Nathan. How are you?
I'm doing quite well, sir. How are you?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Well, my question is, a little backstory. Growing up, I didn't really get a lot of education. My greatest teaching in finance was how to write a check, and I think I did something in economics class in high school, but I don't remember that. So my whole life, I've had great ideas for businesses and how to make money, but I don't know where to go from there. I just have ideas. I've got like 40 ideas I've written down already and no way to start the business. I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I haven't been listening to your show very long, but the only thing I can think of is either a loan, which you greatly discourage loans, or to find an investor. And I don't even know how to do that. I'm
That's okay.
out in the field, nowhere to go.
Yeah. So how old are you?
I'm 28 years old.
Okay. What do you do for a living?
Actually, I'm trying to get off disability. I'm working at a grocery store right now, and it's a big milestone for me. I saved up my own money and bought my first vehicle, no payments, nothing, and it's actually only paid $1,500 for a Harley Davidson Sportster.
Wow. Okay. And what's the nature of your disability, Nathan?
It's mental.
Okay.
I was diagnosed with bipolar. I'm pretty sure there's many others. Throughout school, they've said I've had a learning disability.
Okay.
And biggest issue I've noticed with my education when it comes to school, though, was the No Child Left Behind thing. The teachers didn't even try to help me. They just did my work.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all right. And that left you behind then. All right. Well, I think the thing is this, what I would say is in your situation, whatever idea you want to do, I would start it small and I would keep it simple. And by the way, if you had a PhD and you were a genius, I would tell you the same thing. Okay.
Okay.
Start it small and keep it simple. And it can be something very, very, very simple. Let me give you an example. Okay. I'm not saying you would do this, but let's just talk about an example. An example would be, I'm going to cut grass and I'm going to own a lawn care business. That's my business idea. Okay.
Okay.
Well, what would you do? You would buy an inexpensive used lawnmower for cash, and you would talk some people into letting them cut their grass for you and give you money, right? And you'd have to come up with a price. And the way you would do that would be you would talk to other people in the business and what are they charging to cut grass? You talk to customers and say, what are you paying now? And you set your price a little bit lower because you're new, and you would get your foot in the door and get you some customers. And then as you started making money, you could buy more lawn equipment with that money, and you wouldn't need a loan. That's a start small, simple idea. Now, I don't know what some of your ideas are, but I would just equate them. I would say, let's look at them through the lens of that lawn care idea. What is something we can start really small, and it doesn't cost a lot of money to get going, and it's not a super complicated business, because super complicated businesses have a tendency to fail before they even start. You can take a simple idea and over time complicate it after you're making some money with it. An example here is this. I started this business doing one-on-one financial counseling. I knew how to sit down with people and help them with their money, and I charged them a fee, a counseling fee for meeting with me. Very simple. And then when I got so many of those that all my days were full of counseling fees, then I raised my prices. And then when I still was full, then I hired another person to do counseling. And now I've got a bunch of people on my team that do counseling, and we've trained coaches or counselors all over the nation to do this. And they pay us a fee to learn how to do that. And so we started with a very simple idea, just sitting down and helping people do a budget, helping them not file bankruptcy. But we've complicated it over the years. We do it on the radio now. We sell ads. We've got books. We've got classes. We've got, all these digital things. So over the years, we complicated this simple idea, but we did that as we made money. And it started with no money on a card table in my living room, and we've never borrowed money. So that's how I would suggest you begin to take one of your best ideas that you're the most excited about, but that you can start very simple and very small with cash. Thomas is in Montgomery, Alabama. Hey, Thomas, welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Thanks, Dave. Hope you're doing well today.
I am, sir. How can I help?
Well, I guess my call is more so to get some guidance. I had a parent that passed away about 9 years ago, and was left with a house and some cash after the attorneys got through with it. And the first thing I did was pay my house off. And then I had probably about $50,000-$60,000 left. And the market was down at that time. So I really didn't want to sell her property. So I had some great renters that moved in and kept them up until this past summer. And I had talked to one of my friends that listens to your show, and I had a HELOC on my house during that time to help pay for taxes and insurance, because you get double taxed on rental property, so on and so forth. And so I used that for the past 10 years, and it grew to probably about $70,000 or $80,000. And so
you weren't collecting rent?
Do what? Yeah, I was collecting rent at the same time,
but you weren't, and you weren't using that to pay the bills associated with the house?
With my house or their house?
I mean, why'd you run up debt if you're collecting rent on a paid-for house, and all you had to pay was the property taxes and insurance, and you ran up a HELOC to pay those? Why didn't you use the rent money to pay the bills?
Well, I was using it to, I guess, live. I was traveling a lot and used the capital to, pay for child support and groceries and so on and so forth, just over the past 9 years.
Okay.
And so I ran the HELOC up, and then the summer I talked to my friend, and he said, do you think Dave Ramsey would say, if you had two houses and you still had a HELOC, he'd tell you to probably pay the HELOC off? So what I did, I sold the property, paid everything down, and I've got some cash in the bank, and I want to know, I guess, moving forward, how do I guess, what should I do? I've got about $30,000 left.
Okay. We want to be 100% debt free. Have your emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses, and then start investing in good growth stock mutual funds in your Roth IRAs. And so wherever that money is used up, down through there on that. And then you need to get on a budget, because you don't have a house to sell again next time you run up a debt, so that you don't go back into debt again just to live, which is what you were doing before. So hold on. I'll send you a copy of the book, The Total Money Makeover, to help you out. Let me tell you a story about two families that are very much alike in a lot of ways. Both families have 2 working parents and a couple of young kids. Each has debt and has struggled to make ends meet, but they're starting to make headway with their budgets and smarter decisions with money. They have dreams and plans, and the only real difference is that one family has the right amount of term life insurance and the other doesn't. Big difference. If one of the parents die, and that does happen, their well-being would be destroyed. Paying for the mortgage, utilities, food, and other bills would be impossible, let alone saving for education or retirement. That's why every day I talk relentlessly about getting term life insurance. Just go to XanderInsurance.com or call 800-356-4282 and see how inexpensive it really is. Be the family that takes those deliberate steps to be different and responsible. It really does make you the hero of your story, and it puts you on course for better things ahead.
Tired of spending hundreds on your cell phone bill each month? Talk about a budget buster. Do yourself a favor and check out Pure Talk USA. The same great coverage for half the price. That's right. I said half the price of other brands, and it comes with a risk-free guarantee. Visit puretalkusa.com or call 844-862-3677 to see how much you can save. Enter promo code RADIO and receive 50% off your first month. That's puretalkusa.com. Promo code RADIO.
No one should feel unsafe at home, period. That's been SimpliSafe's mission from day one. You may have even seen a SimpliSafe commercial that talks about it during the big game this year. SimpliSafe blankets your whole home in safety. The Verge calls SimpliSafe the best home security, and it's a wire cutter top pick. Protect your home today and get 10% off at SimpliSafeDirect.com. That's SimpliSafeDirect.com.
Radio Iowa, I'm Dar Danielson. Debate on the use of traffic cameras returned to the Iowa State House today. Republican Representative Jared Klein of Kyoto says a bill to ban the cameras that generate red light and speeding tickets is merely a starting point for the House.
Some of these cameras are definitely useful for safety. I recognize that. But I also think there's a lot out there that are being used as a revenue generating source.
He's urging the companies that manage the cameras and the Iowa cities that use them to come forward with ideas for regulations. Driving on some highways has not been easy the last few days. The DOT Winter Operations Administrator says they could end up using a record amount of salt this year. He says they're well beyond the 140,000 ton average they usually use in a winter. Republicans and 3 Democrats in the legislature approved a plan to boost per pupil spending for Iowa's public K-12 schools by a total of $79 million.
This budget is adequate to maintain a quality education for students in the state of Iowa.
That's Republican Cecil Dolachek of Mount Air. Radio Iowa, I'm Dar Danielson.
Hi, I'm Robert. I have 4 kids, 11 grandkids, 5 great-grandkids. I live with HIV. It took me a long time for my wife to convince me that it was okay to ask for help from people who understand what I'm going through. So I reached out to the Iowa Department of Public Health and found out I qualified for Ryan White services. The support is quite impressive. They help me with medication and medical care, financial stuff, transportation, counseling, even housing if I needed it. They treat me with respect and help me to understand that I'm not alone. Did you know there are over 3,000 Iowans living with HIV? I didn't have a clue. But I know now that how we take care of ourselves, how we manage our care, are 2 of the most important ways we can live our best lives. I'm living with HIV, not dying from it. Why wait? Reach out for testing and care services at StopHIVIowa.org.
What if you could help people in your community get control of their money, maybe for the first time in their entire lives? When you become a coordinator and you lead a Financial Peace University group, you're giving people hope and you're helping change their lives. Now, if you're passionate about the stuff that we teach here and you want to help the millions of people that are looking to save, get out of debt, and become everyday millionaires, then sign up and help us lead a Financial Peace University class in your area. Lead a Financial Peace University group. And to get started, just go to DaveRamsey.com, or you can text LEAD FPU to 33789. That's LEAD FPU to 33789. Haniqua is with us in Tulsa. Hi, Haniqua. How are you?
Hi, Dave. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
Hey, so currently I am in school on track to get my bachelor's degree in Christian studies, and I do plan on also getting my master's degree in divinity. My goal is to cash flow a church with zero loans. I have about 3.5 years until I get my master's. Currently, I am saving my tithes each pay period, and I am sending it directly through AutoPay into a separate savings account from my income. And so I have a two-part question. The first question is, should I be paying those tithes to a local church, or should I continue to save them? And if I should continue to save them, should I be putting them in investments so they can grow to be able to purchase a church and fund, all the things that are necessary to have inside the church?
Gotcha. So have you pastored before?
I have a little bit. I've been in ministry since I was 15, so I've worked with different pastors and things like that. I haven't felt led to co-pastor church. I've been offered it like 3 times, but I just haven't felt led to do it because...
How old are you?
I'm 28.
You're 28?
Yeah.
Okay. And are you attending a local church now?
So I just recently moved from Dallas, Texas to back to Tulsa. I'm born in Tulsa, but I just recently moved back to due to the death of my father. So I have not joined a church since I've been back.
Why not?
Honestly, I thought that when I first came that I would start a church then, but honestly, I wasn't prepared to do it initially. So it is my plan to join a church. I just haven't found one that I've, been wanting to join at this time. So that is my plan, though.
Okay. Well, when you get ready to do your church plant, I would just at that point form your 501c3. And at that point, I would tithe into that. Until then, I would tithe at the church you're attending. There's not a big argument here. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do. God's not sitting up there wringing his hands because of where your tithe is going, right? Any more than he is on where mine's going. Okay, it's just he's God. He doesn't need your money. The principle, though, is to have a steady giving flow. And the principle is that you're doing that to with your local church. Since you are not the local church yet, then I would tithe where you are attending, and I'm always going to encourage, as you would, regular church attendance for a Christian. It's part of the process that we go through as worship and teaching and so forth. Now, I don't, and I would encourage you. And I've worked with a whole bunch of church plants over the years, hundreds, in terms of interacted with them. And I know a lot of pastors that have planted things. We've had 3 different churches plant using our conference center here on the weekends. The third one is in there now. And so that we donate to them. So in other words, I've been on this train ride before. So I would tell you, don't save up and buy a building when you're starting. I would just find a meeting place and begin your plant and begin to gather your core group. And as you probably already know, it often starts as a Bible study in someone's living room.
Right.
And then when we get enough we can't fit in the living room, we go to the local school and rent the cafeteria on the weekends, or or the local theater and whatever, that kind of a thing. And we rent something and get the church growing and get the attendance up, thereby getting the budget up. And then you put yourself in a position with that budget that you didn't have to personally save up and buy and own a building, but instead the church that you're starting does that, which is the proper way to do it from a governance standpoint anyway. So no, I would not save your current tithe to buy a building for those reasons. And, you can do whatever you want. I don't think God's going to be mad at you or me, whichever one he does here, because both involve giving, both involve serving his kingdom. He's not, trying to find some little narrow interpretation of something up there by which he blesses you. None of that. But I just think it's always a good idea to just kind of get in a good rhythm of things and be following the principles that are laid out there, which the principles are local church attendance, regular giving where you attend. And when you start your own thing, then that's where you attend, and you've got a 501c3 at that point. You don't need the IRS to anoint a church, but you have the benefit of it being tax deductible for the gifts that you give to that 501 and that other people do as well. And of course, 501s are required to have a board and so forth. So you'll have your board of elders or deacons or however you set up your governance in your situation. So that's how I would do it. And it's an interesting question. Thanks for the call. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Nathan is in Atlanta. Hi, Nathan. Welcome to the Dave Ramsey Show.
Hi, Dave. Thank you so much for taking my